What is a ray of light without the shadow it creates? What is the darkness without desire for flame? What is a warrior without a worthy foe? What would you like to do? It's time to roll. When the lines between good and evil are blurred, no one knows if there is Dune or Paler came first. An ancient struggle throughout all time to push against the other keeps both upright. Is the coming chaos worth the peace? Is it all just a puzzle to complete? A one-sided coin can't exist, isn't real, and thus goes the tales of Ethyl. Thus goes the tales of Ethyl.
Right, there we go. We're in it. We're together. Hi guys, welcome to episode 16. I know I forgot to do the TikTok, but fuck it, I'm too damn tired to do it today. How we all doing today? We're gonna have a fantastic stream. It's been 2 weeks since we've played, but they've managed to keep themselves entertained with some one-shots that they refuse to fucking send to me for some reason.
Literally, I'm doing it after this session, motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, you better. We are unfortunately down one Ms. Dragon. She will be working, unfortunately, but she's with us here in spirit. You can see her in chat. Everyone say, hi, Dragon!
Hi, Dragon.
Hi, Dragon.
We miss you.
Dragon.
I'm sure it does feel weird watching this happen without you. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and start this episode with our introductions. To my bottom left, we have Silas.
Hi, I'm Zipper. I play Silas, and we're fucking back, baby!
Woo. Right next to him, we've got Kazim.
I'm Josh. I play Kazim. I look like a walking corpse. This is gonna be great.
And last but not least, today, we have Miss Dire Fates. And do you want to... You know what? We're going to get into her character a little bit later.
I'll stay silent now. Y'all can try to figure out how to pronounce her name if you want to.
Good luck, because it is... You're not going to guess it on the first try. Anyway.
Jamie.
Did you say Jamie? Close enough. That's exactly what Kazim's...
Dragon, no guessing.
Yeah, Dragon doesn't get to know. Anyway, we're going to start this show the same way we always do with our fantastic shots. Josh, for some reason, is going sober like a responsible adult. Ugh. But cheers, you
Look
guys.
at you paying taxes and shit. Fuck it.
Harley Quinn face, there you go.
Yep, here's the campaign.
Accents, those aren't real.
I love old room temperature mojitos. They're the best.
Yeah, CJ, and
Why?
you're not drinking the nightcap? Oh, yeah, I guess because your nightcap's probably not done yet.
Yeah, it will be done for the next session though, and it will most likely taste of food coloring because Dragon dropped the food coloring into the jar.
So it's probably like dark.
Dude, it looks like Ica.
That's
Dead
amazing.
ass. I will get you a picture in the break
Yeah, please
Oh,
do.
God.
because I need to stare at it anyway.
Does
Okay.
food coloring have a taste?
So it not necessarily. It does taste a little bit like how do I describe it? It's not a bad taste, but you ever just eaten just straight sprinkles?
Yeah.
It tastes a lot
insane.
like that,
Josh,
but like in liquid form.
There
It's
is
very
so
bad.
much sugar. There's so much sugar.
If you have too much of it, it's just like straight sprinkles.
Oh my
Anyway,
Sprinkles taste like TV
I'm okay with
stack.
it.
It's
I'm okay
awesome.
with sprinkles. Karma, if I come visit you, you have to make the nightcap for me.
okay, I will.
I'm gonna
And
make
we will
someone
plan
get
that.
on.
We'll plan that afterward.
I need to have it all on tap.
When I get my income taxes.
You need to make a TikTok with the recipe.
I might have to.
Think of the views.
Or they could just join the Discord by pressing !Discord in the Twitch chat. and
Which
get a
they
link.
totally could, because I have a bunch of different recipes that I like to try and post every once in a while in the food category. And if you're wondering why I'm pronouncing it like that, that's what it says. Hi, Mom. Everyone say hi, Mama Karma.
Hi, Mama
Hey,
Karma.
Mama Karma.
She's just mom. She's just mom.
Yeah.
My mom is in the hospital, so woo.
Yep, we're thinking of
Yeah.
her.
Hi, other
Sending out love
mom.
and prayers.
All the love.
My mom is asleep.
There.
Good night, mom.
To all the mothers out there, thank you very much for making us fucking weirdos. Anyway,
Woo woo.
we're gonna start our episode with our recap of what happened last episode. But without further ado, I'd like to get into this tale of mystery and wonder in our homebrew based on a video game based on a homebrew of Tales of Ethyl. Now, for those of you who don't remember, last episode, which was 2 fucking weeks ago, we had an unfortunate misstep with Miss Dire Fate. Mistrix had found peace finally and was left to her own devices after she drank a potion that Tammy really didn't want her to drink. He never explained why, but for some reason now she's unretrievable, supposedly, from the paradise orb that she was lost in. Upon that, there was a very emotional event in which Silas actually called her a traitor and left to the forest to deal with his emotions in a very different way compared to the other group. There was an emotional song in which was played and some, I think, needed closure for the rest of the group, and that is where we lost Miss Dyer. Or lost Mistrix, and the rest of the group after this, they buried her body, while Silas, again working through his emotions very differently than everyone else, went hunting, perhaps a little too aggressively, but after a few hours managed to settle down, sending out a signal through his prayer to as many people that would listen as possible. After a little bit of time and a little bit of wandering, he managed to make camp, in which the other people were able to kind of meet up with him. Kazim decided that he was going to stay fairly close to him, built a tent, and destroyed some rabbit, ruined it. While Nico had a different approach of staying by the road, in the carts, not wanting to get anywhere fucking near Silas. In the morning, after a very long rest between the group, Nico did finally decide to join after releasing Tammy and offering a loaf of bread as an apology for how things have been going lately. When he reapparated, Silas decided he was going to attack, and in which V gave all of them a warning to not touch the scroll, no matter what. Interestingly enough, when he went back into the necklace, Kazim decided that he wanted to talk to Tammy a little bit more, and knew that if Nico was under fire enough that he would come out for some reason, and thought it was a good idea for them to have a kind of bit of competition to see what would happen. Unfortunately, it did not go well for Kazim. Nico was able to very quickly incapacitate Kazim, as well as Silas kind of sitting off to the sides, but upon healing himself, Kazim decided he was going to strike back at Nico anyway, in which Silas decides to get involved, and we see a little bit more bloodthirsty coming from Tammy, because Silas comes up, he incapacitates Kazim, and then attempts to go after Nico. Nico tries to fly away, but is ultimately taken down by Silas, to which Tammy takes over. Silas trying to offer the idea that it was simply to make it fair and make sure they understood, because Tammy didn't seem to listen to any of that as he walked over and simply touched Silas and caused the worst pain he's ever experienced in his life. Silas barely able to scrape by based on the grace of his own gods. He was able to live, but Tammy did ultimately decide to paralyze him. They separated off. Kazim had been revived, but he decided to fly away because he just saw Nico fucking one-shot Silas pretty much and scared the shit out of him. While Tammy in Nico's body walks back to the carts to heal himself up, and Silas is freed from his paralyzation and he is breaking down camp. So I'd like to ask you guys, Kazim and Silas, what would you like to do? You're in the middle of this forest. It's a beautiful day out. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning or such. It's nothing too. It's not too early, but it's also not very late either. It's right in that perfect time for waking up. Kazim, I assume that you're still kind of up in the air, kind of keeping your distance away from the group as you're watching Silas break down his camp.
Yeah, I'm just kind of hovering overhead, just seeing what's happening.
Okay, you see Silas breaking down his camp in his tent and putting out his fire. You also see that there's Nico's body. Nico just kind of sitting at the carriage, just sitting at the edge, not seeming to really do much. Kind of hard to tell what he's doing really at this distance. Silas, what are you doing?
As I'm sort of breaking down the camp and packing it into the back of the carriage, checking on the horses, making sure they're tied up, he is completely zoned out. Like he's almost on like an autopilot.
Mm.
And once everything is packed up, he is going to take out Freya's crossbow and, in the language of the giants, carve the name family onto it.
Okay, I'm gonna have you roll for dexterity for me.
And do. Pretty sure that's, yep. $16.
Okay, yeah. So as you sit there with your, you're able to pull out a small dagger, the dagger that you got from the purist before. You begin kind of carving the giant word for family into the side of it. And at first you're worried you might use a little bit too much strength, but with some taking your time with it, you're very easily able to do such a thing. As you hear behind you, as you look down at the carriage, and you're seeing Nico just kind of rummaging through the back, perhaps organizing stuff and getting the horses ready down below, and giving them the morning feed.
Once that's done, he's gonna put the crossbow away, and he is just gonna pace back and forth from one edge of the road to the other and back again. Not really saying anything, just sort of staring blankly into the dirt.
Sure. Silas, are you still just floating up? Or I'm sorry, Kazim, are you still just floating up?
I think at this point I'm gonna go closer to land, but I'm not fully landing on the ground yet. I just want to get within like talking distance.
So you see Nico, both of you see, Silas especially when you're walking past one of the times while you're pacing, you see Nico kind of go to the back and he pulls what seems to be a small pipe out of his bag, and he just kind of quickly lights it. And you've never known Nico to really be a smoker, as he's just kind of sitting back there puffing on something with his arms crossed, just kind of watching Silas as he goes by.
Sight of that, I'm immediately gonna look in the what I assume to be the direction of what I hear flapping wings.
Yeah,
and...
you're gonna hear Kazim as he
Yeah.
slowly starts to kind of get closer, but also clearly trying to keep his distance and being wary, so he has enough space to kind of take off if anything goes down.
And it's gonna be worry, confusion, like that. That clearly ain't Nico.
Yeah, but who is it?
Coin toss.
Cool.
I can't deal with it right now. I don't think they're dangerous, but I've been wrong more than once recently.
Do we need this scroll?
If the doppelganger's going after it, there is a reason. I don't want to go near it. I don't want. I will be entirely honest. I don't want anyone to have it. I don't want to take it. I don't want Tamiel taking it. I don't want the doppelganger taking it. Whatever Terran wanted it for, I don't want that. Anything to do with it. I don't know. We're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. If we go for the scroll, there's going to be a fight. If we don't, we are leaving it out in the open for anyone to just take.
I feel like we're at a point where the Rays know what's going to happen. They know what to look out for. I think we can kind of take our hand off the pulse here. Honestly. I mean, fuck, they might already be in River's Run killing doppelgangers. They're definitely still in Peak Barrow, probably waiting for that doppelganger to come back. They know it's going to.
By the way, both of you do notice this whole time, Nico is just sitting there staring at both of you talking to each other.
Yeah, that's another thing we got to figure out. Will they talk? Have you tried talking to them?
I am afraid to even look in their direction right now. And, like, you will notice for the first time, I think ever, Silas is sweating. And, like, his knuckles are very pale and taut.
I'm gonna land and give you a cure wound, just as a sign of good measure. I already gave myself one.
I mean, I'll fucking take it.
Let's give you a D8 plus 3. Hey, 7. 10 hit points. Do we... Can it hear us?
Are you asking me or are you asking Silas?
I'm asking you.
You can go ahead and roll for insight.
Let's fucking see, huh? And
You can't really tell. He's just been staring at you, but you can't really see any kind of like changes in maybe perhaps he's hearing something or anything. He just no changes to anything you have said this whole time. He's just staring at both of you, so you can't tell.
can I do like suicides, just like run left and right really fast, see if he just follows me with his eyes?
Okay, go for it. Roll for perception. Silas, you're just sitting still?
Natural 20.
Yeah.
He's staring
Yeah,
at Silas the entire time.
Waste of a natural 20.
First one burnt. Yeah, Silas isn't turning around, like he's just... And he's not even, like, he's looking at you, Kazim, but he's not... It's like he's looking through you.
Yeah, Silas, for some reason, you can, like, feel this person in Nico staring at you. You feel the kind of tingle in the back of your neck as if someone's watching you. You can definitely tell he's staring at you.
He's just sitting there smoking menacingly.
Not
doing anything.
He actually has a small little smirk on his face. He's not glaring or anything. He's just sitting there. It almost seems like he's waiting for you to, just kind of sitting there patiently waiting.
we're a week away from River's Run, right?
Do we want to travel with this thing for a week?
I don't think we have a choice. Unless you want to go over and ask for Nico back, but quite honestly, I don't think Nico wants anything to do with me.
That's fair. I did try to kill him. I think
Twice.
maybe he earned a vacation. Let's I'm gonna not land, but I'll hover just a couple feet off the ground. Ready to run at any second. Get like within talking range of
Okay.
this thing.
Okay.
Hey,
Good morning, Kazim.
who the fuck are you?
You don't recognize your dear friend Tammy?
You're Tammy? Fuck, I didn't know
course.
Tammy smoked. Okay, that's a weight off my chest at least.
We wouldn't let just anybody be here. Don't worry. Nico is
whatever,
safe.
Tommy.
Nico is safe.
Yeah, let's get. You know what's funny? We were just talking about how Nico earned a vacation. He is coming back, right?
Of course. And before any of you come in with your grand ideas, in which most of you do, he's staring at you the entire time he's saying that, Kazim. He goes, Nico's not mad at either one of you. He keeps
Also,
telling me
don't say just-
he fully understands that you have your quarrels, and he looks over at Silas and he goes, that you must beat each other to sometimes. I don't understand myself, but he's asked for some respite, a chance to think for himself for once, and he's asked me to help guide you. And you can feel the disdain in his voice as he's looking at you, Kazim. He's like, help guide you.
Okay. Timmy, I think we're gonna go back to River's Run. I don't know. Do you have any insight on the situation? Do you think that this doppelganger is gonna come back after the scroll?
You see, when you start talking about the doppelganger, because I assume you're talking about the doppelganger that from River's Run, he snaps to Silas and he goes, well, I know one thing for sure. He will be returning and going for the scroll. And one bit of useful information I think you might find interesting is it does take quite a bit of energy to come back from that plane. Perhaps his state will be a little bit more weakened than normal.
Cool. That means Zwendal and his men will be able to spot him and kill him easier.
If you feel that you can trust them to it, by all means.
I mean, fuck, Zwendal is a killing machine.
Absolutely. But whatever makes you think that they'll be heading towards this scroll?
I mean, maybe not heading.
If you'd like to
towards the
return to
scroll.
River's Run, I have no quarrel with that. But just know that the scroll will affect you sooner or later. I guess it's up to you in what way that might be.
Even if we go back to Peak Barrow, right?
It's not in Peak
We
Barrow.
still the doppelganger.
The doppelganger is not going to be going to Peak Barrow. The doppelganger is going for the scroll.
He's on a different plane of existence.
Correct. And however they come in here doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be in Peak Barrow.
Does it also necessarily mean it's going to be near the scroll?
That doppelganger seemed to have his own resources, but
Can he just pop up next to the scroll? 'Cause if that's the case, we may have already lost.
sure.
True. I feel like I'm missing something here.
I'm under strict instructions to support you all in whatever it is you need doing. And you see this kind of like glare to you two. Like he's obviously not telling you everything, and he's obviously not too happy with fucking being here.
So, Tom, you're the one who banished him to begin with, right?
If you're going to insist on using my wrong name, I don't know how much information I really feel like displacing to you.
Fine, Tammy.
Yes, I did banish him in the first place.
What plane did you send him to?
The Astral Sea, from what I can tell, because when I reached my feelers out, I wasn't able to sense him in any of the realms that I have a piece there. But that generally doesn't mean that they're in one I don't know. They're generally in between realms, which is, as we have learned, what the Astral Sea is. And since I believe it begs to reason that if Tharizdun was lost in the Astral Sea, obviously his strongest followers would be from there.
Let's say, hypothetically, that this isn't the first time you've banished somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Did they return to the place where they were banished from? Or did they return to a random position?
They generally not return to where they were banished from. They generally return whatever is closest to their exit point. And the problem with the line between realms is the veil is much thinner than a lot of people think, and there are plenty of places in which it's exposed. Peak Barrow is a perfect example of that, of the veil being thinner than some areas, but it's not the only one. And I doubt, with the struggles that he had when he first got there, I doubt that's where he'll be returning to.
That's fair. That's fair.
To be perfectly honest, my best guess was he'll be returning somewhere around the town of Kin, as I know there is another mine down that way that I've heard stories that perhaps the veil is a little bit thinner, but I've never traveled there myself, so I can't say for certain.
How far is the town of Kin from here?
That will be just east of River's Run, due east for about 2-ish weeks. So it's fairly close to the cave, but we are lucky enough to be a bit closer to it.
How far are we?
If we were to go as the crow flies from this, I would say going at full speed as fast as we could, we'd probably get there in about 6 days. If we were to return the River's Run is about a week away, and then it would take us another 4 days from River's Run to get there.
We are truly in the middle of nowhere.
Unfortunately, that is what happens when we are trying to delay some of those more adventurous and had to send them on other adventures, but they have plans of their own. And you see what is he's kind of, you see, he, as he's describing, he kind of like looks off into the distance and just kind of zones out like 1,000-yard stare for some reason. But then he quickly kind of comes back to his realization. He looks back with you with that kind of fake smile he always has.
I don't like you, Tammy. I just don't.
That's perfectly fair. I understand.
You like see dead people and shit. It's weird, man.
I see plenty of things.
Get a hobby. I'm gonna walk over to Silas.
As far as you know, I have thousands.
Ugh. He gives me the creeps.
What was Silas doing that whole time?
I'm gonna message you what Silas was doing.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So Sai, as our leader, what do you think we should do?
Did you fly away so that that Tammy can't hear you?
Yeah, I assume so.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Well,
Give me that.
I can't tell if he can hear us or not, but I fly about the same distance as I was before, I guess.
Okay.
Do not give me the responsibility of leadership.
It can't go to me, man. I said that as a joke. I cannot.
I'm here because of you.
Oh, fuck, man.
I have stayed because of you.
Well, really, there's only two of us right now, right? Let's get that clear. There's two of us. There's you and there's me.
There is one Hail Mary option. Perhaps if you were to ask nicely, our co-conspirator would be able to clear the path. I'll kind of... Silas will point his finger, like, down, pointing under the earth. It would cut the travel time.
You're gonna have to be less cryptic, man. I'm sorry.
The underpass.
The
The one we caved in.
Are we standing directly above it?
I don't know, but it'll be quicker to take. We know that took a single night of rest and a day's travel on the other side. It
Damn it.
maybe take us a day or two to get back to Peak Barrow, a day or two to get from the underpass to River's Run. We'd cut half the travel.
Do we think Tammy has that kind of ability?
You saw what he did to me.
Yeah, I guess it's fucking worth a shot. Who knows what he can do? I'm gonna kind of look at him and just kind of word his name a couple of times. Not like actually produce any noise, just like word his name at him.
You're just going.
Just see what he does.
You're just gonna see him sitting there, still smoking, just kind of looking at you guys, smiling.
Do you want to ask or should I?
Please don't make me go near him.
Okay. Tammy! I'm gonna kind of slowly move over to him.
He kind of sits up a little bit, kind of rolls his eyes as he stands up and slowly begins walking towards you and goes, "Yes."
Can you get us into the shortcut that we blew up?
Ooh, it's an interesting idea. I assume you're wanting to go back to River's Run then, if that's the case.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to take care of the scroll thing, just the two of us.
Well, that's fair
Yeah.
enough. But unfortunately, most of my... And he kind of lifts up his hand, and you see a leaf kind of land on it, and it begins to shrivel up, and he goes, "Most of my powers generally affect organic life." As it just shrivels up in the dust onto the ground.
You know what I hear is really organic? The earth. Would you dig us a way into it? Is that a thing? Don't look at me like I'm crazy. Don't look at me like that.
You see him kind of sit there, and you can tell, like, he's thinking something. And roll, actually, you know what? Roll for insight.
8. That was a nat 2.
Yeah, you can't
Come
tell.
on,
You
man.
can't tell anything as he's just kind of like.
And I used the nat 20 on perception to watch him stare at you.
Well, unfortunately, dirt works a little bit different than organic life.
So it has to be like living.
For the most part.
Doppelgangers are alive. Could you
In a
like
way.
one shot a doppelganger?
Well, it's an interesting idea. Unfortunately, it might... I can't in this state. It will... I could. I very easily could. It will also, unfortunately, And he kind of waves his hand over Nico and goes, "And this organic life as well, which is why he was banished last time."
Mm. 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 Well, we're 6 days away from anything we want to do. 7 days for River's Run. And what, we're like 6 days from the cave as well, right?
About, yeah. You're closer to 8 days to River's Run and 6 days to the cave.
How far is the cave from River's Run?
About 4 days.
Okay, so the doppelganger will be back at any time, most likely a week. We have a limited amount of time to take care of this. Otherwise, we have to hope somebody else does.
Again,
and we're
more than
wasting
welcome.
all of our time on travel because we have no other option.
That's just how this world seems to work sometimes. Again, you're all more than welcome to abandon the scroll, if you'd like.
Fuck. For once in my life, I have to have hope that Paylor will take care of it. And Silas, let's go to River's Run.
Silas will ready the horses without a word. And Karma, the same thing again.
Okay. You, Zim, are you flying? You riding a horse? What are you doing?
I doubt I can fly all day because Kazim's a little weakling.
Okay.
I'll ride a horse.
Okay. And Silas, you riding a horse? You riding on the carriage? You walking?
I'm leading the carriage, probably.
Okay. So as you guys are on the carriage for a little while, and weirdly enough, Nico doesn't get on any of the horses. He just kind of slowly trots behind. He's weirdly able to keep up, but it looks like he's just normally walking. It's the weirdest thing ever. Don't quite understand it. I want one of you two to roll a d20 for me.
Who is it going to be, Josh?
You don't want my luck. I just rolled a 4 and a 2.
Well, I just rolled a 5.
That's
You-
better than
mind you-
me.
Mind you, you rolled a 4 and a 2 after your natural d20.
That is true. That is true.
I was going to say, I've got a 15 and a 5 going for me right now, so...
I rolled an 18.
Okay. Both of you roll for perception.
God damn it. That's a 7 or that's a 7. Okay. 13.
14.
Okay. As you're riding along, it's a beautiful day out. The sun is beginning to shine. After an hour or so of travel, the sky has gone pretty clear. The forest, it seems very calm. And you can hear, it's not quiet in the sense that like you can't hear anything. It's not spooky. It's generally pretty peaceful, which is a welcome change for you guys, as you have had a very interesting couple of days, as without either one of you noticing, that all of a sudden, next to you, Silas, you just hear, "Well, I think that's enough walking for a little while." And you look over, and he's just, Tammy's just sitting in the cart next to you.
I really hate this guy. He's like the worst.
He's not the one I hate.
You see his like legs are just crossed. He's just kind of sitting there looking ahead, smoking his pipe again. Again, that fake smile on his face, and he kind of looks over at you, Silas, and he goes, "I mean, we could ask for more hazardous terrain for us to be making our way on, don't you think?"
Oh, but what do I have to roll to stop myself having an emotional breakdown?
Constitution.
Straight con or con save?
Con save.
Alright. Thank you. That's better. That's an unnatural 20.
Okay, so you're able to kind of hold that back.
Okay. Now, very heavy breathing, but I'm not going to say anything for the moment. Like, just This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Like, tighter grip on the reins ever so slightly. Like, biting my own tongue.
Well, you do know you have no real reason to fear me right now, right, Silas?
What you have a problem with?
And who is it that you have a problem with? As you see again, that he's just smiling. It's weird.
Don't look at me like that.
You'll be with me for quite some time. And just so you know, I am held from my bonds to do such as I freely sow, as long as Nico keeps up his end of the deal. So, if either of you request anything, and you see him kind of sit there for a second and roll for insight, Silas.
That is a 14 plus. I think there's a +2. I've just got a little bit here. Yeah. 16.
So as you'll notice that for some of this conversation, he just kind of goes off thinking. You can tell he's obviously thinking about something else before snapping back to reality. Obviously, his mind is also elsewhere, weirdly enough, as he's just like, I mean, after the unfortunate mishap, I feel that I owe you all some information, so I'd like to offer you, as we make our way through this lovely forest, some chances to ask me some questions. Perhaps I can help some of those lingering questions you have.
There is no question I have that you could answer.
Very
You're
well.
not pertinent. You're not pertinent to the knowledge I seek.
And what knowledge do you seek?
Why I'm still doing this.
It's an excellent question.
Why I'm still here.
I believe we all have questions like that sometimes. Some more than others. Why would you stop?
Because I am fucking tired. I'm fucking tired. That's why I'd stop.
You see this weird... How do I put it? Okay, this makes you a little uncomfortable seeing it. There's no laughter, there's no smiling, there's no joy, there's no melancholy. For the first time since you've seen this Tammy character, there's this weird compassion, it seems, as he just kind of looks at you and goes, I can see why. This world, I think, has asked too much of you. Too much of all of you, to be perfectly frank. To be put on such a mission for what? For a cleric that no longer believes in what he believed in. For a bard who remembered no one to be left in the forest. For a poor boy to give his life for the will of something he found. Or for an orc who's lost absolutely everything and charged to give some more back. It's all tiring, and I think we're all tired. So, what kept you going in the first place, Silas? Oh, by the way, Kazim, you heard that outburst from Silas. So I assume that you'd probably get a little bit closer, probably within conversation range, to make sure that, you know, Tammy's not doing anything too fucking weird. And you did hear that conversation, that what Tammy just said.
Currently, it has to be me. Everything has to be me. I had to be the survivor. I had to be the one to avenge my clan. And you've seen what happened to Kazim when he forewent his god's desires. The gods are the only ones who've offered me a sense of guidance, a sense of purpose. The only ones who've given me a straight fucking answer. And they chose the wrong person.
You see Tammy just kind of sit back as he's smoking the pipe, and he's just kind of looking up into the sky through the treetops as the wind is rustling. And you hear him say, well, I can see why you might believe that, Silas, but I have to ask a rather serious question. Do you think they want somebody to make these decisions on their behalf, or to use their powers on their behalf, or to do their bidding on their behalf, to just blindly follow without asking questions, with zero reservations about it? Or do you think that they might have a little bit of a different idea for you? Does it have to be you? Or do they just prefer you? Have you asked to stop?
It doesn't matter what I want. The gods are everlasting. This is but a single speck.
As soon
of
as you say
sand.
everlasting, he just goes, oh dear boy, nothing is everlasting. They just last a very long time.
And to an orc, to someone who'll be dead in 20 years, it doesn't matter whether forever is 100 years or 1,000. An era or 20. I know what I am. I'm a hunter. I'm a father. But that life was taken from me. And ever since then, I have just had to keep walking. I have had to survive. I have had to kill. I have had to follow. And I have had to obey because no one gives a damn about what the orc wants. Whether it's Paylor or Tharizdun or Groomish or you. Today was the first time in a long damn time that anyone asked what I want, and it was the one day where I don't know. I have sacrificed everything for your precious boy, or for Kazim, for Mistrix. And what do I get? Abandonment, hate, and deception. Mistrix knew the pain I went through, and she put me through it again. Maybe it's selfish to think like that, but for once, I want to be selfish.
You should be. You should be mad. You should be furious. But why be mad at Mistrix? For finding peace for herself? For trying to do what she thought was best? Are you just mad that no one listened to you, that you thought it would be best? She didn't let you sacrifice yourself for the greater good, as you think? What do you think would have happened if you would have stayed instead of her? Do you have any understanding of the hole that you would have left yourself? Do you? Or or is your thoughts so short-sighted that you can't see ultimate sacrifice was made for you? So that, for once, you could get the things that you want. You wouldn't have been trapped and left alone and abandoned. Rather, you sit here hateful to the one that sacrificed everything to help you. And you
No
sit
one
here and you
can help
dare,
me.
you listen. You dare sit here and sallow her name for doing everything she could for you. You wasted it.
She did.
She wasted
She didn't-
nothing!
She doesn't know what I want. You don't know what I want.
Obviously, neither do you.
I know what I want, Tamiel. I want to go back to that night, and I want to die with my family.
So you choose any way to die around that you could possibly find.
It's like I said. I didn't choose this life. It chose me, and it chose wrong. I understand that you're looking at a higher purpose, that you, like everyone else, thinks that I'm here for a reason.
I don't think you're here for any particular reason. I think it was complete luck and chance. I think that you were at the wrong place at the right time. I think you being chosen was complete accident. Well, absolute accident. And that's why I ask, why don't you ask to stop? Have you thought of that? Have you thought perhaps if you just simply begged to be freed, that Groomish might free you? And you're so worried about the retaliation they'd give you. What's the worst he could do? Kill you? You want that anyway.
He has my wife and son. He knows that killing me is what I want. And it's like you said today. The reason I can't is because I've already gone too far. I'm an orc on a warpath, aren't I?
I hoped you weren't going to screw me right.
You know that lust. You've clearly been able to resist it. Whether your master has or not, I'll never know. If I really wanted to be that orc you think I am, wouldn't I be taking us right to that scroll? Wouldn't I be longing for the chance to put my arms around your throat? I'm going to Tasha. I'm not doing it for Nico. I'm not doing it for Kazim. I sure as hell aren't doing it for Rogan. We're going to River's Run. I'm talking to Greymore. He'll blindfold Nico and take him to Freya. So that they can go and see each other and be happy for a day without the risk of knowing where she really is. I'm gonna go to Tasha. And for the first time in a long time, I'm gonna try and be happy. If that proves you right, so be it.
Very well. Do as you wish. I won't try and stop you, but I want you to think of one thing. Why didn't you just lay down and die with the rest of your tribe? You could have laid there and starved to death and waited for death to come, let the wolves take you. You got up for some reason. Why?
Because I thought that it was the right thing to do, that I thought that I had a higher purpose. But I sit here now, weeks after it, looking at all that has happened. You've seen what we've seen.
I've seen plenty more.
You've seen the etchings on the wall. You've heard the whispers. You saw what Brachus and Tharizdun were willing to do. And yeah, you probably know much more about it than all of us. Do you want to answer my question? Answer me this. Forget Nico. Forget yourself. Because you said yourself, you're a messenger.
To an
Who
extent.
sent the message? What do they want? Because you want to know why I hate you so much? Why every chance I get, I'm fighting for my survival. You terrify me. And you enjoy it. That smile, that smirk. I don't know anything about you. Or the one you serve. I don't know a thing about Nico. I thought I knew something about Kazim, but I was clearly wrong. All I know is that they're beneath my feet. And I grow angry, the rage fuels me, because I am fucking terrified.
So, ask me anything you'd like to know about me. Or the one I serve. I'll answer.
Why could Nico see the etchings?
For that, I believe we're going to have to tell a story. Those etchings are very old. Incredibly old. And this magic that's behind it was placed there by a being, I guess you could say is just as old, but he was a child at that point. Comparatively, at least. The attitude he has much now is a much different disposition than he had then, throwing tantrums and such. The reason that Nico could see through the etchings is because V has been touched by Tharizdun. In a much different kind of way, though. He's not one that is under Tharizdun's power. In fact, he likes to think that he has tricked Tharizdun into giving him that power. And in a sense, he has. He has. Without, obviously, there was a cost, but Tharizdun has no influence on him, but he does. But V does hold the power that he was given. He's been punished for it ever since, but he likes to think he came out on top. And he passed that power on down to Nico.
And what's V's ploy in all this? To smite Tharizdun? To take his place, or just...
Oh, Lord. Nothing of the sort. Being a god bores him. What he would like is to have his own domain where he can sit and study without all the frivolousness of humanity and such. He's not very interested in general populace, and gods bore him, and they tend to be overconfident. He has no interest in that. He doesn't want to be worshipped. He doesn't want to be... Quite frankly, he doesn't really care if he's remembered. He just wants to be and do as he wish. And he figures that the best way to accomplish such a thing is probably to just find his own place. But circumstances being what they may, it's not quite happening just yet.
How many anchors have to be broken?
That is an interesting question. There's a few different theories of what we could do. Mostly, Tharizdun could potentially come back through as little as half or 8 of the anchors were to be broken. It will take quite some time as that. There's a chance he could come back with less. I'm not too I personally am not too sure how the whole ritual works, but it's still going to take at least 2 or 3 more to even really have to worry about such a thing. They're still hidden, as far as I'm aware. They are.
One more.
Please.
What lies beyond Ethyl? Beyond the borders,
Beyond the
the
borders.
oceans. Where could one go to find peace?
I suppose that matters of what kind of peace you're looking for. What kind of destinations might you? Because be in mind, every different place has their own conflicts and such. What interests you, Silas? Solitude, perhaps? Perhaps community? Plenty of that.
Inner peace.
Inner peace. Do you want to know something interesting, my orcish friend, about inner peace? Those who often go out other places to seek it are generally the ones that never find it. Cryptic as that may sound, unfortunately, the only way to find inner peace is to find what you truly, truly want. You can either find it in the far-off oceans of the Isles of Decem, or perhaps in other continents, through up mountains and through forests, or some might even find it by pitching and building themselves a house 30 feet off of this road, directly there, and never leaving. Inner peace is wherever you might want it to be. What is inner peace to you, Silas? If you don't mind, I'd very much appreciate being able to ask some questions of my own. I've been neglectful in my understandings of the group, and he kind of looks up at you, Kazim. He goes, if you'll indulge me, I'd like to ask you both some questions.
I want to know who I am.
You want to know
Because
who...
Silas Locke died. I lost him.
Interesting. So you'd like to know who this new orc is in his stead.
I want to find myself again. I want to be the hunter, not the chosen.
Interesting. Interesting.
This life the gods have given me, whether it was deserved or chance, I don't want it. Whether it's my destiny or self-fulfilling prophecy, I just want to be a hunter. One that tries to stop Tharizdun, maybe. One that finds love again, unlikely. But that is a skill set I know. A skill set I loved. This glaive. This magic. I am not ungrateful. These javelins. They are my livelihood. The earth beneath my bare feet. The sounds of snapping twigs. That moment before the kill. That is Silas.
Well, you assume that you can't be this as well as being their chosen one?
not the way I am now.
What of you, Kazim? This deserter of Palor? Chosen a very interesting god to replace it. I have to ask, why the change of heart?
I don't think it ever was a change of heart necessarily. I don't know. The Palor position kind of just seemed like something I had to do, not something I wanted to do. And then I got a chance to cut and run, and I did. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Suppose that's fair. Do you regret it?
A little. I wish I could have been there for Taryn, but he had a different path than me. This was against my will. It's better that I get to do my own thing.
You all have so many regrets of those that have died before you. I find it fascinating, to be quite frank, but I'm gonna ask a very frank question. It's not going to be very kind, but I think it might be one you both need to hear. Especially you, Silas, but Kazim, I think you also might benefit from it. You regret those who've died before you and those who have given up their lives for you, and you hate yourself for not doing enough, right? Or perhaps not being there at the right time, or perhaps things not going how you might have planned. Is that fair enough, Silas?
Not saying
That-
anything.
That wasn't a question.
Well, allow me to shed some light. Do you think these loved ones and these teachers and family members and tribesmen would be very proud of you sitting here sulking, upset with how things have went, rather than celebrating the life that you've been given that they haven't, living for all of them, enjoying everything that there is to offer in remembrance of them, remembering them and cherishing them for every moment that they've given you? But no, you decide to sit and wallow in pain and actually force them to watch you sit there in pain. Do you think that's really what any of them would have wanted from you? Silas, you say that you want to be a hunter.
That would depend entirely on one thing.
Oh.
Whether or not they understand.
I'm sure they do. Who wouldn't? Things don't always go as we wish them to, and generally, we all understand the pain of losing a loved one. But I think you feel as if mourning only happens to those of the living. The dead mourn as well. The only unfortunate thing for them is they get to see what happens to their loved ones usually. So they get to mourn and will also watch you do it. Who really has it worse?
Well, that's a hard one, actually.
You know what I think, Tammy?
I'm curious. What?
In all this time, I think you've forgotten what it's like to be mortal. To be ignorant.
Oh,
And
I have
think
plenty of memories of those times. Trust me. And you see, as he says, trust me, he's not looking, he's stopped looking at either one of you. He's staring at his hands, blank stare. There's no emotion in his face. The smile is gone. For some reason, he goes, trust me. And again, snaps back to that kind of cocky attitude he normally has.
All right, okay. You guys have been playing 20 questions for a while now. Can I ask some questions?
By all means, I'm curious.
I'm gonna nod to Kazim, toss Tamiel the reins, and walk.
Okay. And then right before you do, roll for perception for me, Silas.
Yeah, so that's in that one.
Okay, fair enough. Kazim, do you want to? See if maybe you saw it?
Sure, why not? Let's give that fucker a whirl. Okay, that's better than a nat 1, technically speaking.
Is it a 2?
No, actually it was an 8. Still not great. Perception? 14.
Okay, neither one of you saw it then.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, Tammy, uh, I've got some incredibly burning questions for you, bud.
Please, fire away.
The first one is, what are you?
That is such a complicated question.
Okay. If you had to boil it down to like 3 words, like I am blank.
I am Tamiel.
I'll kill you. I'll just kill you. I knew you were gonna say that.
Well, to be perfectly fair, there is no singular definition of what I am. I am a spirit. I am a messenger. I am a protector. But ultimately, what I truly was, that ended centuries ago. I honestly can't remember.
You just said you could remember. Whatever.
I can remember plenty
Whatever.
of times, but what I can't remember is I can remember just as much as I do.
So, you were once a mortal.
Oh
Right.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely was.
Were you a human or?
I don't remember. I've changed
Mm,
my face so many times that unfortunately it's hard to remember exactly what I used to be. I remember being mortal. I remember the sense of being scared of death. I remember the want to have more, the want to bring those back, but when it comes to physical traits, it's hard. But feelings last for much longer than actual memories do.
So you were once mortal. Now, the way you phrase "were mortal" makes me think you're now immortal.
To an extent.
Okay, so by definition, immortal or not immortal?
Again, complicated questions, Kazim.
Can
Complicated questions.
can you be killed with a knife?
In this form? You'll just kill Nico.
But that won't affect you.
In a sense, kinda not really. Maybe a little bit.
Okay.
I'm
Follow-up
immortal with
question to
limitations. We'll put it with that. I'm immortal with limitations.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. Okay. Third, and this question's probably the most important.
Fair enough.
Oh God.
That must have been so incredibly important. It left your mind before you could say it.
It was just that fucking thing behind you distracted me. It was.
Well,
I'm trying to get him to turn around.
Line.
That huge fucking thing behind you distracted me.
roll for deception.
No. Just no.
Okay.
Even with expertise, it's an 11.
I don't understand why you're constantly trying to trick me, Kazim, but
It's
I do find it
gonna-
quite endearing.
It's gonna work, and when it does, I'm gonna laugh
Absolutely.
my ass off.
It's going to work one of these days, Kazim. Absolutely. I believe in you.
It'll be great.
It'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Kazim?
Yeah, shoot.
Are you okay? You see this weird sincerity in his voice, which you do find super weird because normally it's very like cocky, but very different.
No, final answer.
I can understand how difficult it can be in just the span of a few days. You've lost a teacher, lost a friend. It's a lot to take in, and you haven't had much time to process it. So I know that I am a very unlikely source of compassion or caring, as there are some things going on that I don't quite understand. And you see like this weird tinge of frustration as he's saying that, but he goes, I do genuinely hope that if there is something within my power, of course, that I can do, that you will ask. Believe it or not, I do very weirdly, kind of care for a lot of you, so I do want to help if I can.
There is one thing I can think of.
Oh, is there?
My boss really has some questions for you. Do you think you could talk to her?
Oh, I think I can do something of that sort. Just tell her to touch the necklace when sleep comes, and her and I will have a conversation. I'm sure that she, based on your description and her choosing you, interesting enough, I'm sure she's smart enough to be able to figure out what that means.
Touch a necklace. You know what? It's way over my head.
Yeah, your sarcasm never ceases to amaze me.
You're an asshole, man. I do not give a shit.
Absolutely am. Yeah. Am I an asshole because I say things you don't want to hear, or I don't lie? So you can not like me.
No, you're just a dick. It's your tone of voice, really.
I have been told that.
Yeah.
How's
Anyway.
our orcish friend able to keep up? And I want Silas. How are you trying to keep up with the cart?
No,
Okay. So
I'm keeping it like within sight, not necessarily earshot, but like if I lose a bit of pacing, I ain't bothered. And I'm actually going to try and sort of throughout the whole time create a mental barrier between me and the gods. And that's all the gods.
okay.
I basically want to create my own sort of mental fortress.
Fair enough.
Guess.
Fair enough. Go ahead and roll for wisdom for me.
Roll for compartmentalize.
Yeah. Roll for split personality.
That's a nat 20.
Okay. You feel like you're able to create a space that you feel comfortable is fortified enough. And Kazim, will you roll for perception for me?
You got it, baby. Oh, that's an 18.
Okay, you just weirdly enough, you see this kind of weird like twitch come from Nico's right eye as he just kind of waves his hand very quickly, and you don't really see much of a change. Well, would one of you two please roll me a d20?
Alright,
I
my
did the
turn.
last one.
Yeah, my
what about
turn.
you?
13.
Okay.
Fuck, lucky number.
As you guys are continuing down, I assume you guys are making, a bit of small talk. I assume that Kazim is still asking odd questions of...
Has this
Tammy?
all been one day, by the way?
Yeah, this is all... So, yeah, because Mistrix died yesterday. Like, this morning.
Yeah. Shit.
You guys did go to sleep though, but then immediately start trying to kill each other. So
I got no idea how to roleplay grief properly. This is gonna be weird.
as you guys are continuing down the road, I believe it'd probably be Tammy that would look to you and be, well, there's something interesting as he kind of points over, and you notice that there is a kind of broken down farmstead. You see the gate of the stone fence going along the road with there's a broken gate kind of sitting there with a path that kind of goes a good while to a house that it doesn't look like it obviously hasn't been lived in, but it's not too destroyed just yet. And I'd say at this point it's probably like probably 1:30 in the afternoon or so. The crops in the field seem to be, dying. It's obviously been left for quite some time, but it doesn't look decimated. And Silas, as you just kind of look up and you see Tammy just kind of pointing out the house there. Yeah.
I mean,
I know you are one to snoop, Kazim.
imagine if there's loot. Imagine.
There could be. I mean, we never know what's
It's
inside
not-
some of these houses. It also could be a trap, so.
It
But
could be a trap. What makes you say that? It's an old
It could-
farmhouse.
Because
It could be a curse part of exhaustion. Who knows?
who knows? It
Ugh.
could be absolutely anything. But I know that
See-
you just can't resist yourself, can you, Kazim?
The funny thing about exhaustion is you can't get it twice in a row. I'm gonna go to that farmhouse.
Nico might want to have some words with you about that one.
Oh,
Been less than a week.
Oh, God. Okay, so you begin walking down and you kind of peer over your shoulder and you see that Tammy is bringing the cart over to the side by the gate, and he just kind of stops as he's kind of getting out, slowly walking out. Silas, you gonna be joining them?
How tall are the crops?
So there seems like there could have been crops. It's probably wheat. It's fairly tall. It's obviously been there for a while and been kind of wildly growing on its own. So you'd probably say it's about maybe 2 to 3 feet tall. It's up to your hip at least, but you do see that there is a path that is much shorter. It's still got some grass on it. It hasn't been used in a while, but it's much shorter comparative to all the other fields that are around.
I'm
Hey.
not touching the ground. I'm flying above it.
Okay. So you're flying above it, but you do look behind you and you see that Tammy's just kind of walking through it with no real issues. Silas, what are you doing?
I'm gonna sort of stalk through the crops a little bit.
Okay.
Sort of mainly watching the perimeter, like, Kazim's clearly gonna go for the homestead. So I'm gonna sort of watch our peripherals.
Okay. As you kind of start getting a little bit closer to the actual house, will you want to roll for perception for me?
Any chance we could have had a short rest on the way over here?
Yeah, I'll give you a short rest because we were just kind of riding on a horse, kind of casually as we were talking.
That is one better than last time. 11 plus 17.
Okay, so as you kind of come up, you notice that the windows have been broken into, and you do notice that the door, the front door, has been kind of like smashed off. Obviously, something has happened. Normally, you could tell if it was rotten or if it was broken in, but this one definitely looks like it was broken in at some time. And as you kind of circle around the house, you do notice that the back of the roof of the house seems to have been burned or singed at some point, but also perhaps put out, hopefully by it doesn't look like it's been put out by to be saved or anything because it looks like it was abandoned, but you can tell that there was obviously some kind of fire here at some point, at least on the back of the house. As you circle back around, it's not a small house, but it's also not large. It's probably about 2 stories. It looks like it's got the 2 windows on the front. It's made out of stone. It's got these large wooden pillars on either side. The roof is almost made entirely out of thatch. There might be an attic in there of some kind, but again, it looks like it's been broken in through the front, and it looks like perhaps a fire was started at some point. There's also a stable off to one side of the a barn slash kind of shack. It's bigger than a shed, but it's smaller than a barn, kind of in the back, and then there's stables. The doors have begun kind of rotting off their hinges and kind of laying on the ground. It's been left for a while, but also kind of weirdly nice for how much damage there really is.
Any holes in the roof?
Yeah, there. So on the back and kind of the if you're facing from the back on the right side of it, there is a hole that looks like it's been burned through by perhaps a fire, where you do see that there's probably some floorboards in the attic, or some space for you to probably squeeze in if you want to, or you're able to land and probably look in.
I'd like to land and look in.
Okay, Silas, what are you doing while this is happening?
I'm gonna get a bit closer to sort of provide some sort of like distant support for Kazim.
Okay. So, as you kind of peer in, Kazim, go ahead and roll for perception for me.
11.
It looks like, based on where it looks like it was probably some kind of like storage room in the attic. You're just seeing some crates and some boxes that are in there. You do notice as you kind of stick your head in a little bit further, you do notice over on the far side of the attic, away from you, there seems to be some kind of ladder that you could probably drop down to get lower into the house, but you're not really, you're seeing a bunch of cobwebs. You do see that there's like bags of something, perhaps wool or something, in the roof to kind of make it feel like a little bit more insulated. It's a very well built house. Obviously, it took some care, and yeah, it just looks like it's some kind of storage attic, probably.
Can I start? What are the crates labeled in any way? Are they labeled like
with your
11?
It's kind of hard to tell. It's a little dark in the actual attic, as there is no windows or anything, and there's just kind of that one hole of light, and you just kind of seeing the general outline of all of the attic, of all the crates and stuff in it.
I'm gonna cast light and just give myself something to work with here.
Okay. So as you kind of light it up a little bit more, you're noticing that it's pretty barren. Go ahead and roll. Are you going to be like kind of looking a little bit closer at everything?
I want to try like opening crates if that's possible.
Okay, roll for investigation.
Fucking hell. Okay. That's 9 because I don't have any modifier.
Okay, so you kind of open up one crate that seems to be like falling apart, and it just looks like maybe a couple pieces of cloth, some fabric, not a whole lot in there, and you kind of just assume that's what's in everything else around you.
Cool. Not really worth my time.
Okay.
I'll go to the ladder and yeah, I'll make my way down to the second floor.
Okay. Silas, are you doing anything?
As Kazim is taking the ladder, I'm gonna sort of be waiting for him at the foot of it.
So you're in the house.
Yeah, slowly moving in.
Go ahead and roll for perception for me.
Okie dokie.
I'll be right back.
That is a 23.
Okay, so as you're kind of walking into the front door, you see Tammy. He also kind of walks in as he walks over to like a bookshelf or something, as he's picking up a book and just kind of glancing through it and reading it. You see that there is a couple bookshelves up. Some have got some like jars and stuff, that a couple are broken. You do notice that there is a fireplace and what looks to be like 2 chairs. One of them seems to be completely destroyed and broken and the rotting away, and the other one seems relatively fine. You do see that there's some rotting in the leather of the actual chair. Obviously someone had money when they lived here, or at least money for very nice things. It wasn't a lot of nice things, but they were very nice things. You are noticing that there's a beautiful kind of rudimentary kitchen in the back. It's not crazy well, but obviously someone took care to even hand carve what looks to be a table that was in there, and some beautiful dining chairs. Again, a couple of them are smashed. The table seems in relatively good condition. You do see a couple cracks at the base of it as you walk in there, and there is that kitchen with a kind of wooden stove there. Again, very nice. Obviously old and patinaed, kind of iron wooden stove. You do see beautiful inlays, perhaps during the forging process, but it was obviously handmade, but very, very well. As you begin walking towards you hear the Kazim walking in the attic above you. As you begin walking up the small steps that are on the kind of right side of the building, away from Tammy, as he's just kind of sitting there, again, flipping through the books a little bit, kind of looking for things himself. You begin walking up the steps and you hear something in the roof. You assume it's Kazim, as all of a sudden, in the hallway on the second floor, you notice that a hole in the roof opens up and a ladder kind of drops down as you see Kazim kind of begin coming down. On the second floor, there are maybe 2 more rooms, and there's obviously the ladder that goes up to the attic. As you kind of peer over as the very top of the steps, here's the hallway on your left side, and on the right is the first room, which is pretty small. There seems to be a little cot that's in there, a little box or a chest or something there, and there seems to be like there was some kind of table and stool, but the stool has been smashed up. There are a couple holes in the floor up here. You are seeing that the window has been completely shattered out, and it seems to be like a bag just on the bed with these pieces of fabric all over the bed. Obviously, it kind of looks like someone was packing shit up and then just kind of left it there.
Yeah. Okay. Like, kind of. Alright. Silas will probably sort of run his hand gently over the cot. But.
Okay. As you kind of run
he's watching, like, every corner of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Something feels off.
As you're kind of running your hand over the cot, you kind of notice that there's quite a bit of dust on the cot. So obviously whatever is here, it was been there a while. One thing that did catch your eye, when you looked at the bottom of the ladder, as soon as it touched down, and you saw Kazim started coming down, there seemed to be a little bit less dust around the ladder itself, like where the ladder touches the ground, compared to the rest of the floor. You aren't quite sure if that's because the ladder just came down, or perhaps, it's happened a few times.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kazim is now coming down the ladder above you. And Kazim, as you begin coming downstairs, you notice that there's a little balcony kind of like railing that looks down onto the kind of more living area where you see Tammy just kind of browsing through a book as he just kind of looks up at you and smiles and keeps on reading. As you look over and you see Silas going into the room that is closest to the stairs, and there's a small bed in there and a small chest as you come down. It's not an crazy expensive house, but it's obviously got what little things it does have in there are very nice, very well carved, very well made. So they were very expensive. There's just not a lot of it. At the bottom of the steps, you notice on the other side of the hallway, there is another room in there. It's much bigger than the other one. There's beautiful hand-carved furniture, there's a dresser in there. There's a full bed, 4-post bed in there, a small table. You do notice that the posts of the bed frame have 2 have kind of fallen off, and there seemed to there was a curtain that went across, but those are kind of all on the ground. There is a large chest at the foot of the bed. If you want to go ahead and roll for investigation for me.
That is...
Both of you can.
Oh, cool. What's my investigation?
Kazim, I like that
Please
face.
Please tell me you got something better than me.
What'd you get?
What? I got a 16.
I got a 13.
Okay. As you kind
I
of
don't have any modifiers.
you don't have any modifiers for investigation?
Right? That's what I'm saying.
That's all you do. That's like your shtick.
It's because I got it in religion, I think.
Oh.
I'm getting...
Anyway, as you're kind of looking around the large room, you do notice that you do open up the chest and you manage to find yourself like 25 gold pieces that are in there in a small bag. You also do notice that there is not really anything all in there except for like clothes, and this is you, Kazim, that I'm talking to. You find these things, and you find a small little like box, what seems to be like kind of lock box in there, and you try and like open it up a little bit, but it seems to be locked. But that's kind of all you find. Silas, while you're in the smaller room, you manage to find a small, on top of the desk, kind of underneath it, kind of hidden behind another piece of small furniture, like a little bookcase. There is this kind of a smaller like chest that you're able to open it up, and there is 20 gold that is in there. Obviously, it seems to be someone's life savings that they were hiding. You open up the chest at the base of his bed, and you notice that there is another small little lockbox. Both that seems like a very nice wood ornate. There again, you try and open it and it's also locked. But yeah, there's not really too much else you guys find in these rooms.
I'm gonna take the lockbox over to Kazim. I don't know what to do with this.
Can I like look over the lockbox? Is there anything special about it? Any traps I should be aware of?
You're gonna look for traps. Okay, roll for investigation.
God damn it! 9.
It's just a wooden box with a lock, probably.
Okay, I'm like 200% sure this thing isn't trapped. Just in case I am a dumbass, I'm gonna say back up.
I'll take like
That's just
2
me,
steps back.
Can I try to let... It's locked?
Yeah, they're both locked. You have 2 of them.
Oh shit, 2 of them.
Yeah, you found one and Silas found one.
Oh. Let me pop them bitches open. I got my thieves' tools.
All right, go ahead and roll me a dex throw for me.
Saving throw or skill check?
Skill check.
God, motherfucking proficiency.
Josh, you need new dice.
I'm proficient with...
Yeah, are you proficient with them?
Wait, would you say there's a sleight of hand to open them?
Let me see.
I'm proficient with thieves' tools, 100%, yeah.
I'm gonna make sure
Yeah,
of that.
dice,
I don't believe
kit,
you.
forgery kit, thieves' tools. It's on my front page. Yeah, thieves' tools.
I don't believe you.
It's right there!
I just want to say, Josh, sweetheart, please get new dice. Please.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
I have not rolled higher than a 10. No, that's not true. I rolled an 11. But... And a 20. I rolled a 120.
Yeah, for a perception check to see someone else. Someone else is looking at someone else.
Karma, I rolled a natural 2. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, so yeah, you can't
I do have proficiency with them, to be fair.
You can't seem to get them open for some reason.
Silas?
Yeah.
If I gave you this lockpick, do you think you'd be able to open this?
What's a lockpick?
That's like... Okay, can I like jam my knife under the lid and try to pry it open?
Roll for strength.
What are these? They're little wooden lock boxes?
Yeah, so hold on. Yeah, so they're these kind of ornate little lock boxes. One of them has like this kind of gold like leaf kind of filament on it, but there isn't too much to it really. So yeah, it just seems like two wooden lock boxes. Obviously.
Wait, are there
what?
hinges on the outside of it?
Yeah.
Can I just take off the hinges? Is that something I'm capable of doing?
You don't really have any other.
Do
you have tinkerer's
it would
tools?
still be locked. No.
Not really.
No.
Then.
All right, let's just pry this bitch. I'm starting with the gold leaf one.
All right, roll for strength.
Okay. With a -1, that's still a 14. Best roll all night.
Yeah.
How is the rogue doing better at strength than they are at lockpicking?
You said 14 though?
14.
Unfortunately, it's too strong of wood. You're trying to pry it open, but it doesn't seem to be coming undone.
Silas.
Yes,
Smash.
because I'm
I'm gonna put them on the
green, isn't
ground.
it? It's because I'm green, isn't it?
No, it's because you're a barbarian.
Fuck, I'll try and pry open the fucking lockbox.
Okay, roll for strength.
It is kind of because you're green. I wasn't thinking about it like that, but now I am.
Yeah, you are. It's a dirty 20.
Okay, so as soon as he kind of says it's because I'm green, huh? He grabs that lockbox like full on, like palms it, grabs the lid of it, and just kind of snap, and rips that lid off of the top of it. And as you kind of open it up and look inside of it, there seems to be a couple pieces of fairly cheap jewelry, but there also seems to be a small tube of some kind. Like a leather-bound tube, it seems to be, inside of this one.
Leather-bound tube.
Yeah, and then there's, like, you get a couple gold chains and small rings, a small little pouch of jewelry that's probably worth about maybe 100 gold.
I'm going to grab the jewelry because that might come in handy.
Okay.
That sounded like I was just being clapped out. No, it might actually
That
come
tracks.
I mean, you are.
Yeah, that 100% tracks.
Imagine, what if we're going to like a fancy dinner party and we look fancy, but we don't have any jewelry on? Boom, jewelry.
At what
Just saying.
what inclination do you have in any way that a disgraced cleric and an orc who's wearing clothes they have not removed in 2 weeks are gonna get invited to an aristocratic party?
I'm not saying like tomorrow. I'm saying it might eventually happen.
The second we get into a town, you're pawning that shit off for gold or some kind of magic item that you want to try and steal beforehand.
Joke's on you. I'm going to forget that it exists.
Are you
That
gonna
wouldn't have done good in the party anyway, because you wouldn't have known you have it.
Anyway, are you gonna try and open up the other lockbox too?
Because he's asked me to try and pry it open, I'll try.
I'd like to give this a second chance if I can.
Yeah. What are you trying to
I
do?
have to prove myself.
What are you gonna try and do?
I'm going to try to pick this lock.
Okay, go for it. Roll for me for Dex.
Well, first, I'd like to check for trap.
Roll for investigation.
17!
So as you kind of look over it, it seems like it's a fairly basic lock. You do kind of look into it, and you do notice that perhaps if there was a certain way to opening it, if you tried to do certain things to it, it looks like that a spring would come down and lock it in place if you were to, say, try and pick it. It doesn't go well.
So I have to get a really good lockpicking.
Well, now you get advantage for doing lockpicking to be able to avoid that.
That is sleight of hand?
Yeah,
Or-
with advantage. I think it's sleight of hand. We're doing sleight of hand. Fuck it. It's a homebrew. I don't give a shit.
Okay, well, I got a natural 19, so I'm fucking monstering that shit.
Okay, so yeah,
Sleight of hand is 28.
as soon as you notice that it's kind of in there, you kind of go, oh, okay, and you are able to get your pick in there and give it a little bit of tension with your tension pin as you're picking the different kind of things, and very quickly just kind of tink, and it just kind of pops open a little bit. And as you open it, you notice that there's just a single jewelry like box in there, like a little case that you kind of pop open, and there's this beautiful ruby necklace that is sitting in there.
Ruby necklace, huh? I'm not putting it on. I'm not putting it on. I'm not putting it on. Oh, God, I want to, though. I used that. Didn't I use the scroll of detect magic?
You did.
Yeah, I don't know why I still have that. Boop, gone.
Are you concerned about it in any way?
I feel like if there is a chance that this is magic, I would like to know, just so we know what we have.
I
I have no way
can
of checking.
I can make sure it's safe at least.
Would you mind? This isn't a super high priority if it takes a lot out of you.
I will outstretch my hand.
Okay. So as you are you gonna hand it to him?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you kind of take it up, you grab that brooch, and you, as soon as you touch it, you feel this kind of warmth as it kind of travels up into your hand, and the rubies on the necklace begin to glow a little bit, and you don't feel any maliciousness coming from this necklace.
It is not cursed. That much I can tell you.
Is it magic? Is it
That
does your
I
brooch identify or detect curse?
detect curse.
All right. Well,
The identify one was more expensive.
I'll do what I know best and put on the necklace.
Okay.
Not curse.
You're not really feeling much right now. Perhaps if you wait a little bit longer, perhaps something would happen, but
He wants me to attune to it. Oh no, what does it do?
Well,
Does he
it
impose
can't
no
be
reason to
anything.
think-
It can't be anything bad. Worst case scenario, you just unattune to it because you don't like what it does.
Well, hold on. What if it's not a necklace? What if it's not a curse? What if the necklace's design was, hey, here's a little fun thing I can do. If you attune to me, I'll trap your soul in me forever. That way you
feel
live
like-
immortal.
I feel like that would come under curse.
What if that was the necklace's design?
It could
what if
still
we
be
had a
classified
magical
as-
being downstairs reading a fucking book that could probably answer some fucking questions?
Like, here's the thing, dude. What you're saying is, what if it's designed to be evil? Is it really a curse?
Think about it. That's not really evil.
That
It's
is a
living
distinction.
forever,
I'll be perfectly clear. That is a distinction I would absolutely abuse.
right?
It's not
That's
cursed.
100% a karma
It can't be cursed if it never had a good intention in the first place.
I'm gonna run downstairs like a kid in a candy store, just running as fast as my little legs can take me. Tim Tam, can you cast Identify on this?
You see him kind of looking at book and seeing the large bird, like kind of Timmy Tam, and he kind of looks over at you and goes, "You are certainly excited. What did you need?"
I want to know if this. I need to know if this is magic, and if it is, I would like it.
Okay. May I see it?
And if it isn't, I'd still like it anyway.
Hand it to him.
Give me
I'm keeping
about
it regardless.
give me about 10 minutes, and I'll let you know. As he just kind of walks over to the table, and he kind of sits there, waving his hand over it, and you see him kind of writing stuff down on a separate pieces of paper as he's just kind of looking it over, and he all of a sudden it starts floating up, and he's kind of holding it with his hands, turning it slowly as he's just kind of writing things down.
I love ritual casting. I'm gonna run back upstairs and see if there's anything else.
Okay. You roll for
That was
invest-
what's in that leather tube, by the way?
You never opened it.
I want to go look at that.
Okay. All right. So Silas has the leather tube since he opened that box. So Silas, you're gonna give him the leather tube.
Yeah, sure. I'll hand it over to him.
Okay. As you kind of grab it, it's a fairly basic leather tube. There's nothing too spectacular about it. It seems to be, I'd say about maybe 11 inches long. It's probably about maybe an inch and a half, kind of wide, perhaps around.
The
There's
kind of thing they hold a scroll or a deed in.
perhaps yes.
Check it for traps.
Roll for investigation.
A 13?
I mean, you shake it. Doesn't sound like there's anything in it.
If they were able to trap a leather-bound tube, I would be impressed.
Is it like capped?
Spicy cloud.
Is it like capped or anything?
Yeah, so it looks like it's got a base of a tube, and it seems like there's a smaller top. If you think of like an emergency flare, it kind of looks like that, where you just kind of pull the top off. It's very simple and basic, but as far as you can tell, there's nothing really trap-like.
Now tell me, would you count that little leather cap as a door?
You
No?
are not
That is
counting
such a
knock on the
stretch.
two.
That is
It was
such
gonna
a
be Thaumaturgy, dude.
such a stretch.
A little door to the tube. It's a door to the inside of the
No.
tube. I'll just pop it open. I don't believe it's trapped.
Okay.
I'll back away from Silas just in case it is, but I don't
So-
believe it today.
Silas, you see Kazim just kind of grab the tube and he starts kind of opening it, looks at you, just kind of slowly takes a couple steps back as he's kind of holding out in front of him. He's like, and nothing happens.
Cool.
As you
Anything inside of it?
as you look in the tube, there does seem to be a couple pieces of old paper rolled up inside as you kind of pull them out. One seems to be just a kind of perhaps a letter. It seems to be from a loved one talking about the harvest that seems to be coming, and to make sure that they stay warm once winter comes and to store enough food for themselves. The other one seems to be a spell of some kind.
Ooh. Can I make out what kind of spell it is off of looking at the scroll? Or...
You could take 10 minutes too.
Oh, by giving it to Tim Tam?
No, you can take 10 minutes to be able to try and understand what it says.
Sure, I'd love to.
You're going to roll for wisdom for me.
I'm really good at that. Except not now. That's an 8.
You need to stop jinxing it.
It's going to take you a little bit longer. Probably about 20-ish minutes if you want to sit down and try and... Silas, you see Kazim pull out this paper, and you see him just kind of sit down. He's kind of holding it in front of him, trying to maybe looking it upside down, holding it up to the light, trying to figure out what the hell it says. Very clearly, he has no idea what it is.
I left my readers in Peak Barrow. That's on me.
I'm gonna go stand on the balcony and get some fresh air. I imagine it's quite musky
A little bit.
in this building.
It's not like moist kind of smell, but you know, like it all kind of weirdly smells like a really old book for some reason. It's super odd.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. After a little while of you still looking over this paper, Tammy starts coming up the steps to you, Kazim and Silas. As you walk outside, you notice that the sun is still pretty high over these just sea of yellow grass. You're seeing a couple blotches of like a random bush that has popped up every once in a while, or perhaps some you see something kind of moving in the grass out there, probably a rabbit or something, as you're just kind of sitting there enjoying the breeze rolling over the yellow grass, the grass tops of the wheat. As Tammy comes up, still holding the necklace, kind of floating in midair in his hand, and he goes, this is quite a very interesting necklace. I don't know necessarily how useful it will be to your group, but I assume it will be useful eventually.
Well, what's it do? What's it do?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, this seems to be some form of, for lack of a better term, cures diseases normally. So if you're afflicted with some kind of disease or illness, you put this on and it can either subside the symptoms of it or could entirely cure it, as well as prevent you from getting any such diseases. So could be quite useful sometime in the future, but yeah,
Like a permanent, like, as long as you're wearing this necklace, you remove a disease, or certain times a day, or...
So it seems that as long as you're wearing this necklace, I haven't had any sense of like there being necessarily a limit on what it can do. It's fairly weak compared to most other things. So yeah, it seems to cure diseases kind of as many times as you wear it, really.
That's something I'm not capable of doing yet.
Well,
my
now
current
you are.
powers only go till 10. So,
As he just kind of
that's it.
brings it over to you and drops it into your hand, and he kind of looks over your shoulder and goes, "What are you reading? It seems interesting. May I?"
Yeah, go for it.
Kind of looks over
It's,
it and goes, "Oh,
As far as I can tell, it's the deed to this property.
actually, this seems to be... This is clearly a farm, right? This seems to be... I would have... My best guess is this seems to be some kind of backup plan for the winter months of their farm, as this is a spell scroll for create food and water. Interesting that they would have something like this. This is pretty clever for a farmer to have something.
Create food and water?
Yeah. Essentially what it does is you can create up to 45 pounds of food along with 30 gallons of water. So it's a good idea for those when you're trying to stock up and such. I've known that captains will have people that will be able to do something like this with these spells, but that might be intriguing later as he kind of rolls it back up and hands it back to you.
Is that a second level spell?
I think so. Third level.
Third level.
I like to think Silas is secretly like offended of the idea that Kadeem would even consider using a spell scroll to summon food and not just ask him to cook.
This is more of a Kazim has lost somebody to take care of him. In case I can't find a Silas to daddy me, I need to be able to make my own food. Don't take that out of context. No, that's not cool, Kerm. That's not cool.
That's a clip.
I was
No.
just thinking-
That context, that
Yeah, I was
context is
gonna say,
there. You put that there yourself.
everyone say hi to TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
No TikTok. No.
Bad TikTok down.
Create food and water. Awesome. And then a necklace of remove disease, cure disease.
So let me look up that. Which I had the name for it. Give me 1 second while I try and
Karma?
find it one more time. Yeah.
Dragon said the thing again that Silas doesn't like.
Okay, so this is the Periap of Health, except I changed it up a little bit. Periap of Health, the Periapt of Health. And I'm going to change it a little bit to where it cures the diseases, because this says it doesn't, but...
If you're infected with the disease, the effects of the disease are suppressed while you wear the pendant. Okay,
While you wear
so
it.
this will... You're immune to contracting any disease
Yes.
while you wear it. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm going to make it to where if you have a disease and put it on, it will cure it.
Okay, that's going in the bag of holding for now. Sick.
And so while he kind of hands you over the scrolls, he's going to kind of walk out to the balcony looking over at Silas and goes, you know, I can see why some people would settle down in such a remote place. So, where we left off was
Oh God.
Tammy had asked about a person that he asked if you all have spoken to downstairs.
Not even gonna.
You're saying there's a person downstairs.
Yes, there is.
Okay. Did you know when did they get here, first of all? And that could have been more relevant information.
According to them, they've been here the whole time while you guys have been up here. I just noticed that there was someone creeping near the
Is there like
what?
Is there like a balcony that I can look over to see?
Sure.
Or
You can try and look over the
I-
balcony. They're downstairs in the kitchen.
peeksy doodles? I want to try to creep up.
Okay. So as you go ahead and roll for stealth.
Blessing of the Trickster on Silas, by the way. For the next hour, advantage on stealth checks for you.
Yeah, I need that. I am
19
big.
is the natural plus 3? Really? That's it? 22.
Okay. So as you kind of begin sneaking towards the balcony over the railing down the steps, you kind of try and peer over, and you're not really seeing too much there. You know that when he says he told you that they're in the kitchen, so you know you're probably gonna have to go downstairs to try and take a peek.
I'm doing this slowly and silently as possible.
Okay, so as you
Trying not to
begin
get
kind of
spotted.
creeping down the stairs, you feel relatively stealthy as you begin creeping down the steps. Silas, you following behind him?
Yeah, I'll take that stealth advantage if I'm allowed.
Okay, so go ahead and roll for stealth for me.
Thanks for the advantage, Josh.
2 ones, 2 ones. Come on, baby.
I fuck it. So the first one was a 4 total. The second the second one was a 19 total.
Oh,
Yes.
hell yeah.
So you feel like you're proficiently stealthy as you both begin creeping down the stairs. As you both kind of look up and see Tammy just kind of. You weirdly can't hear him walking as he's just kind of going down the hallway towards the top of the steps. He's just kind of watching you two going down. But you both creep over, and you see subtle movement in the kitchen, but you're not seeing all that much. You do see something kind of move around the corner, and you hear what sounds to be a door open somewhere.
Okay. I would like to, if I can, jump in and cast command at the same time.
Okay. We're not starting combat, but I want you to roll for initiative. Just you, Kazim.
Well,
12?
12
Okay. And what's your dex?
plus 3,
Okay. So
17.
as you kind of pop around the corner and quickly cast command, what's the command word you're going to use?
Halt.
So as you hop into the kitchen and turn the corner where you saw the movement, you very quickly cast your spell and say halt, and you see this kind of you see that there's a door that was kind of in the kitchen prior. You didn't know that was in there, and there's a what seems to be a leg sticking out as it's beginning to go down the steps, and it just stops, and it looks like this very it looks fleshy, like a normal skin of probably a human potentially, but all you're really seeing is a leg that's beginning to go downstairs. If you would have waited any, you see a foot that's got what seems to be a shoe. It looks old and tattered and old, like decrepit, but it seems to be attached to what looks to be a leg of some kind of probably human.
Guys, get in here. Get in here.
Silas is there. He's fucking there, bro.
Okay, and Tammy comes in behind you and goes, well, that's just rude for coming into someone's house and casting a spell on them.
Okay. You know what? We did a lot of things here. I'm specifically afraid for my life.
Fair enough. Well, I must ask you if you would please drop the spell, and I'm sure he would be more than willing to come up.
I think it only lasts one round. Yeah, it's already over.
As he just kind of looks over and goes, come on up. I don't think they'll hurt you. And you see very slowly the leg kind of go down a little bit, and you just see this kind of long, spindly hand kind of grip the side of the door frame, and you're seeing an eye kind of peek over what seems to be little patches of skin as he just kind of slowly begins walking up, and you see what probably is a human, or maybe used to be or something, but you've seen this. He looks short because he's hunched over, and he's got a couple deformities. He's got these tattered clothes on him, perhaps made just of things that he was able to find. This male something, humanoid of some kind, hunched over as he's kind of slowly walking up. He's got a large lump on one side of his head. His head is very disfigured and deformed, and you're seeing his one arm is a little bit larger than the other as he just kind of is looking towards the ground, and he just kind of is standing there. And Tammy goes, he appears to be the person that owns the place. And he just kind of looks up at all of you and goes, I don't mind that you all are here. Just please don't hurt me.
Okay. Does this guy look like some sort of like he was? I don't know how to phrase this. Is he an amalgamation of different creatures' body parts?
Is he a Frankenstein?
Is he a Frankenstein's monster?
Go ahead and roll for perception.
What's my bonus again? That's a 23.
Okay. So
I rolled well.
you can tell that obviously, all of his skin is the same skin tone. There are a couple scars and stuff. And you see, it looks like you've seen transformations and stuff of different things, or perhaps they're trying to change the way some things look or disguise. It looks like it was some kind of. He looks like a mid transformation of like into a werewolf or some shit. It looks like something that was about to turn into something else, but something went horribly wrong, and now he's stuck in this mid state. Will both you and Silas both roll for perception for me?
15.
10.
Okay, Silas, you are kind of noticing as you look over at Tammy, there seems to be like a small like tear coming down his face as he kind of walks up to this thing, and he very slowly kind of leans down and puts his hand on his back and goes, "Don't worry, you're safe." As he just kind of gives this weird thing a hug.
Is lycanthropy a disease, or is it a curse?
Are you asking me, or are you asking as Kazim?
I'm asking you, would Kazim know in this universe, is it a disease or a curse? Because I've heard
Roll
multiple different...
for Arcana.
Okay, this better be good. 14?
So there seems to be differing from your research from when you were your time in the church. There seem to be differing opinions. It's kind of hard for you to really tell. As you see, Tammy just kind of sitting there. He seems to be comforting this being. He goes, "What's your name?" And the being kind of sits there. He's looking down at like his hands, and he's not really trying. He's trying his best not to make eye contact. And he goes, "Marin." He goes, "Hello, Marin. I'm Tamiel." And he looks over and goes, "And that's Kazim and my friend Silas." And both of you can kind of notice that there is, again, super off-putting, but you're seeing genuine compassion coming from Tammy.
There was a slight flinching for when he calls me his friend. Like, that kind of makes me uncomfortable.
Okay.
Tammy, do you know this guy or what's going on with him?
I don't, but I think I've seen something like this, and I think it might have something to do with the necklace that you found earlier.
You think it's a disease?
Well, if you don't mind, Marin, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions to boost my hypothesis of what's happened. And he kind of looks down and goes, okay. He goes, "If you don't mind, could you please take a seat at the table?" And he kind of looks over the table, and you see Marin just kind of slowly, he almost is like crawling on on all fours, except one's too short to do it, as he just kind of weirdly props himself up with his larger arm as he pulls the chair out and kind of gets up and sits down in it. And you see Tammy kind of looking all over him, and you see on the large hump on his back, Tammy goes, "I figured." And he looks over at you two and goes, "I do believe that this was lycanthropy, if I'm not mistaken, and I feel free to stop me if this is too much for you, Marin, but were you bitten by a werewolf?" And you see Marin kind of go, yeah, yes, but I'm not changing anymore. I'm not a werewolf. It's okay. It's okay. And I'm assuming this was when you were much younger, right? He goes, How did you... He goes, "I'm guessing your parents are no longer around, Marin, and I assumed they loved you very much and were trying to protect you, right?" He goes, It's weird both of you seeing this like calming nature that Tammy seems to be emanating from him. And he goes, they died a year ago, and I've been trying to make do with what I can. And he goes, that's all right. Take a breath. Relax. If you don't mind, I'd like to share with them my ideas, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. He goes, okay. And he kind of looks over at you and goes, it appears Marin has been bitten by a lycanthrope, and didn't realize possibly until a full moon, unfortunately. And in the midst of his transformation, I'm guessing his parents used that necklace that you have, Kazim, to try and stop it. Unfortunately, when they did that, they did manage to cure him of his lycanthrope. But it was mid-transformation, and his body was disfigured because of it. Am I correct in thinking so? And he goes, yeah, they tried to hide me so that I became this. You see Tammy go, oh, you're human, Marin. Don't make any mistake. You are indeed human. Just because things have happened to you doesn't mean make you any less human. It happens to all of us. Luckily for you, friends have come. Would you like to be who you're supposed to be? You see him kind of go, his eyes kind of go wide and goes, yeah, yes, very much so. And he goes, all I ask of you is I get to study you for a little bit. If you don't mind, do we have a deal? Do either of you do anything, as he just asked if he has a deal with this person? See Marin go, okay, yeah. He goes, fantastic, great. Now, if you two don't mind, I'd like very much to go visit downstairs. If you guys would mind keeping watch up here, make sure nothing odd happens. Okay, thank you. As he kind of goes downstairs and is helping lead Marin down there. What are you guys doing while he's up there?
Starting to feel a little bad that we stole all that shit.
Silas is going to stand guard at the door, I think.
Okay. We roll for perception.
That's 10.
Okay. Kazim, what are you doing? Anything?
Probably looking around a little bit more for any important paperwork here,
Roll for
like
perception.
the deed specifically. 14.
As you're kind of looking around, you're looking through some old books and stuff up on a shelf. You're finding not too much. It seems pretty barren. Perhaps maybe something went through here before. But you do hear outside, out in the distance, hello?
Is there a window near me?
Silas, you probably heard it too. And as you look up, you notice that, Kazim, you notice that Silas kind of looks up out towards the road as soon as you both hear the hello. And you both notice that there is a little bit taller elven person walking past your cart.
How do you want to handle this?
She's wearing a black dress. She's got long hair that seems to be kind of wrapped around her almost. Kind of hard to make out many details from this distance, but yeah, she has noticed your cart and has began kind of looking around, yelling out hello.
I'll say we probably shouldn't give whoever that is a reason to investigate what we're doing. Here, let me take the lead. I think I can get rid of him.
Okay.
All right, and I will sort of stalk from within the crop, I think.
Roll for stealth for me.
With advantage.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do I still have that?
Apparently that's just a free thing I get.
Pretty much.
No.
Nice. That is a 14.
Okay. And Kazim, what are you doing?
I'm gonna walk outside, making sure that whoever that is sees me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to try to hide at all. And I'll say, "Can I help you?"
So, Miss Direfate, would you like to describe what Kazim is seeing as you're instantly lock eyes with him because he very clearly can see you and you see him? What do they see?
So, what they see is a very. She's about 5'5". She's kind of thin. Looks very elegant. Looks like she should not be walking around in the woods in this long, creeping black, like, silk kind of dress. And you can tell that her hair is, like, wrapped around her in, like, sort of a harnessing fashion. Because her hair literally touches almost to her knees. If you can see her eyes are like this piercing emerald green. She's gonna kind of look at Kazim and be like, I'm sorry, I seem to have walked upon something that I wasn't quite sure of. I'm looking for the nearest town, if you would happen to know.
That's kind of a tricky question. Are you looking for like a major city or?
That is the trick of the question, isn't it? I'm not quite sure. I'm not actually from this lovely land. I don't quite know where what is.
Tourist.
And my accompaniment is rather rude about where I'm to be going.
I'll kind of point along the road towards Rivers Run. That way is probably the best bet, honestly. You'll find a big town there, Rivers Run. When you get there, ask for Tasha. She'll take care of you.
All of you roll for perception.
Oh, good.
14.
Nat 20.
16. Uh-huh.
So Ayami and Silas, you both hear a very loud, pained scream coming from inside the house.
Is that something you ought to be a little concerned about?
I fucking book it. I book it to the house.
Okay.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
All of a sudden,
is just
there's
gonna
this large
say
green
this.
orc that just stands up in the grass and just fucking runs inside the house.
She's gonna look at Kazim with like a, she's like, are you in need of a priestess?
No, I think we've got this.
I'm going to take your large friend running out of the corn, and yourself being a little unwary of the scream that just happened is something that I ought not to know about. But if someone is hurt, I would like to know.
You know,
You hear a
I'm trying to
very,
think of a good lie.
you hear another
his
very loud
stutters.
scream.
With his stutter, she's gonna
running
pick
in.
up the hem of her dress and go in.
Okay.
Like, trot.
I'm running in as well. Fuck
Silas,
this.
as you come in, as soon as you open up the door, you hear that scream again, and I'm assuming you're going straight back downstairs.
Wherever
As soo-
that scream is coming from, I'm there.
You
3
can tell it's
seconds
immediately
flat.
downstairs. As you begin kind of coming down, you see that there is that humanoid laying on the ground, and you're hearing the kind of snapping of bones and stuff kind of happening as you're coming down the stairs. And as soon as you starts tumbling down, you see Tammy quickly turn around and go, "Quickly, get me Kazim."
Up,
Seems
like 3 seconds behind him, I'm down.
Okay, as soon as you
him and his new friend are on the way.
As soon as you start running down the stairs, Tammy quickly turns around and goes, "Kazim, he needs healing right now." And as you begin kind of walking around the wall, because as you go downstairs, it's obviously a very small makeshift kind of personal hut. It's dank and just kind of, it's not very well kept. Obviously, he's been living down there for a very long time. You're seeing food scraps all over the place, and as you come around the corner, on top of this table is the very familiar face of the person that was of the thing that was upstairs, but it's a much more human-like. And it seems to be, he's very clearly being turned back into a normal person, but he's in incredible amounts of pain. As you hear Ayumi coming down the stairs, and Tammy turns around and goes, "Well, more people to see the show. Welcome. Come on down, I guess," as he's quickly working on another part of the arm. And Kazim, are you healing him with anything?
I'm gonna pull out a healing potion I have. I can always buy more, and I'm gonna just dump it down his throat.
Okay, he quickly starts kind of trying to drink it. And you see him kind of settle down, and he goes, Silas, and Tammy turns around and goes, "Silas, I need you over here."
I'll hesitantly walk over, more so like out, like just staring at the. I'm gonna call it the patient
Yeah.
because I don't really know the word.
He kind of points you to the head of the table and goes, "I need you to hold his shoulders down." And he goes, "Marin, you're doing so good. We're almost done. I swear this is the last one. That's going to be the worst though, okay?" And you see Marin choking down, and he kind of brings up his arm and grabs a piece of leather, puts it in his teeth, and you just see like tears coming down his eyes, and you see him just kind of nodding very quickly. And you see this kind of weird blue magic sparking between his hands as he's kind of going to the side where there's this large, you can see part of his rib cage, and you're seeing this as this large part of his rib cage is bigger than the other side of this weird deformed human that it looks normal, but there's a small little part right here that's much bigger than the rest. And you see this very tall, pale skin Asamar kind of do something as he puts it into this body, as it quickly begins to shrink and snap, and you're hearing the different pieces of his bone kind of restructuring as it's going down to a normal side, and you hear the pain coming out of who he just called Marin coming out. And he goes, "You're okay. You're good. You're done. You're done. You're all right. You're okay." Kazim, he needs another. Can you heal him?
With that, she's going to do healing word
Okay.
in her second level because it's 60 feet, so she's just going to do it.
Do you want to
without
describe
even...
how it looks, or do you want me to?
I'll let you do it.
So, very quickly, you hear the whispers coming from Ayumi as this pale green light is coming from her hands and kind of washing over Marin as his breathing begins to kind of slow down a little bit, and he pulls out that piece of leather and he goes, Am I normal? Am I normal? And you hear Tammy just kind of caress his cheeks and go, "Thank you, Silas. You can let him go." And he goes, "Yes, you are bona fide normal, my friend. Welcome back." And both of you notice that weird Silas, that weird deformed human that was upstairs, horrifically changed, is now a very modest, actually quite handsome looking human male, probably somewhere in his late 20s, early 30s. He's got very long hair. The previously much larger arm. He looked like hunched over, that if he stood straight up, he'd probably be around like 7.5 feet. But he's more around like the 5'11" size. But yeah, he much more human than he was before. And you see these tears kind of going down his face. He goes, "Oh my god!" And he looks over at Tammy and goes, "Thank you so much." And he looks at his hand, and you just see the huge smile come on his face as tears of joy begin going down his face. Oh my! 3 years, 3 years. Do any of you say?
I
Battle
seem to
is
have
for the
stumbled
gods,
around
yeah.
something very odd.
You see the large ASMR kind of sit up and look over you and goes, "You should stick around. It gets so much weirder. I don't believe we've met before. I'm Tamiel." And he reaches his hand out to you.
She's going to give him like the up and down look of, he looks really familiar, and she's not quite sure why. She's like, Ayami, I'm sorry I intruded on your experiment, I'm assuming.
Not an experiment in the least. We've stumbled upon this poor soul, and due to some unfortunate mishap a few years earlier, he was left permanently disfigured, and I personally just fixed it, giving him a chance at a normal life.
You are indeed quite the showman. Your entourage is a little. She's she's gonna say in a different language that they're precarious,
What language do you say it in?
draconic.
Okay.
I'll say back in Draconic. That's a weird way to talk.
You seem-
Oh, shit.
You seem familiar. Where are you from, Ayami?
I happen to come from the Black Island. If you would know where that is, I'm not sure.
From the Isle of Desem?
The Black Isle of the Sem, yes.
I've ventured over there every once in a while, but intriguing.
Also, your feathered friend is taking one of my native languages in a very gruff, squeaky, squawking tone.
It is very much that like high schooler that knows how to speak Spanish, but only technically.
I feel that.
He's rather scholared and knows quite a bit for someone of his, how do I put it?
Say
Inclination.
it, Tammy.
Your larger friend. She's gonna look over at Silas with like the, oh, hi there, kind of look, and be like, he is strapping, but he seems not to take very much to your being.
That's a bit more complicated. I hope you understand.
Mm.
Something we probably shouldn't invest into strangers, huh?
Well, I don't believe she's as much as a stranger as you all might think, but I think we'll have time to discover that. I must ask, Ayami, what brings you to Ethyl? Quite a long distance from the Isle.
More of a distance than you know. It is not my own wishing that brings me here. It is. She's gonna like touch the necklace, be like, someone else's.
Intriguing. I hope very much to meet this other person. Anyway.
She's wearing a necklace?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. She's wearing
Is
a
there...
Will both
black
of
velvet choker with a crystal.
will Silas and Kazim please roll for perception?
I need to know what that... Now,
I will quite
Yes.
honestly say, like,
Kazim, you're just staring at Marin on the table, amazed that he actually looks like a person. And Tammy goes, "If we could, I'd like you all to please make your way upstairs as I help our friend on his feet and perhaps in a new direction in life."
I assume I will be going. Kazim, was it? Which direction did you say? She starts walking up the stairs.
I can't tell. We're underground. Give me like 3 minutes. I want to pull Marin aside here.
Okay. As he's kind of sitting on the edge of the table, kind of amazed over his own body and his arms being the same length and being able to sit up. You're just seeing this glee look in his face.
Buddy, I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
We stole some shit from you. So to make up for it, I'm gonna pull out a pouch of 100 gold and put it in his hand and say, "Here's this.
Oh.
Don't spend it all in one place,
I
unless it's for like well-preserved food or something like a bacon jam. Those last a while. That would be a good investment."
I very much appreciate that. I think yeah, this is gonna help me rebuild the farm, and I can be a normal person. I can
Yeah.
I can live a life.
Well, yeah. Good luck with that. Yeah. Again, no hard feelings for the stealing shit from you, right?
No, as far as I'm concerned, consider it payment. I mean, look at me. I'm normal.
I feel like this necklace is worth way more than 100 gold. I feel like I got a bargain here. Anyway. Fucking elf lady. Come on.
Silas, are you going up with them or are you staying down?
Silas is on the balcony, I'd say.
Okay, so he already went up.
Yep.
Okay.
But he's not leaving the house. Not
Okay.
yet.
So you guys are upstairs. The floor is yours.
So I'll point down the road where we came from. If you go that way, you'll hit Peak Barrow. They're kind of like a zealot town. You can go there if you want. I wouldn't recommend it personally. If you go the other way, though, that's Rivers Run. That is where we're going. Yeah.
I take it the other option is not as zealot-like as you put it.
It's kind of still zealoty. It's about to get a little weirder, but I mean, it's not weird yet, and you might beat the crazies.
I feel like I've already met the crazies.
Okay, you know what? Mrs. Ooh, I speak Draconic. You know what?
I'm sorry you're offended by the language of my religion.
Well, now I feel bad, but no, I don't. You were talking shit about us in Draconic.
How else would you say that word?
I don't remember the words you used, but I would say it in common.
Sorry. She doesn't laugh. She has a very elegance about her. And by the look of her, like, she may have been on the road for like a hot minute, but she's still like, her hair may be a little unkempt, but she's like tried her best to keep it as organized as possible.
I'm gonna kind of look over her shoulder. Do you see that?
Oh
What is
god.
that?
Deception and fucking insight. Let's
Yeah,
go.
I gotta get somebody.
Unnatural 20.
27.
Oh,
Oh my God. I mean,
Yep. You clearly have to look behind you now.
Gotta happen.
We're never gonna hear the
Yes.
end of this.
so the way she does this is kind of like sachet kind of thing. Like she just kind of like casually like glances over her shoulder while like swinging her bag in front of her. Because she don't trust your shit.
Well, I gotta look over her shoulder. That's all that matters.
Silas,
That's a
are
fucking
you
win for
watching
me.
this happen?
From the distant, yeah.
So I imagine that you see her look behind her and you just see Kazim behind her going, yes.
Fucking fist pump. Yeah.
He's stumped on himself right now.
Fucking hell, I thought this guy was a professional when we first met, and fucking. I could be anywhere in the world right now.
As you hear small talking coming up the stairs, and you hear Tammy go, no, friend, please. I hope you live a full life here, and I hope you enjoy. Now, I wish I could do more about as he kind of goes up to the kitchen, and you see him kind of put his finger across the counter and goes, state of the building here, but unfortunately that's not part of my expertise. And you hear Marin go, no. Thank you already for how much you've done. I wish I could do more. If you guys want to, I guess, stay here, you're more than welcome to. But I have a lot of work I need to get going. And as he comes up, you notice that he's wearing much better put together clothes. They're not like elegant by any means, but they're definitely not as ratty as they were before. He's got a very hard leather kind of like apron on, and he's got a nice cotton wool shirt on and actual pants and brand new shoes all of a sudden. And you see he's got like a couple tools on there, and he didn't have any of that stuff as far as you could tell downstairs.
Not elegant clothes, you say?
Yeah.
Fuck it, I'm going back in.
What are you doing?
I've got some nice dress clothes that I'm gonna give him,
Okay.
as well as I'm gonna do a little. So, you ever heard of the Mother of Lies?
I don't think I have. As he's grabbing the clothes and goes, my goodness, thank you so much. I don't think I have. No.
So, let me tell you about her. She's great. My favorite goddess, personally, and I've known a lot of goddesses. She's by far my favorite. Not many people give her the respect she deserves, but she's able to do stuff like help you get back to normal.
Can I hear him?
think-
Yes, you can.
She's going to like not cackle, but like the
okay. She's
the goddess
she's treated
of lies. You put your faith into beings who poof in and out whenever they damn please.
Hell yeah, I do. She's been treating me very well, as opposed to some other deities. I won't
that
name
live upon-
names, Palor.
That live upon other planes. When there are creatures far more worth of homage, as some put it, that live on this realm.
Okay. You know what? Who gives a shit of your god?
Roll
or
for
goddess
perception
lives
there,
here?
Dyer.
Oh God. How's a natural 20 feel
God damn it! Everybody
on
gets
top
one.
of 26? Because I got a +6.
So you got an unnatural what?
I got a natural 20 and then +6 for my
You
perception.
look up and you just see this small smirk on Tammy's face as you're talking about gods that are here.
We'll talk
Oh.
about this later. But
The beliefs of some races is utterly. She's not even going to finish the sentence. She's going to stand up and walk outside.
ignore the tourist. Marin, do you have a deity in your life?
You see him kind of look over and he goes, I'll be perfectly honest. It seems like you, and he looks over at Tammy and goes, are you a deity? And you see him kind of go, huh, I don't really see myself as that. I am merely a knowledge seeker, and I use that power.
Don't
hopefully
inflate
to
his ego.
Trust me, Kazim. It doesn't need to be. I already am fully aware of how powerful I am. And Marin kind of looks at him and goes, I mean, he's probably the closest I'm ever going to see as one as far as I'm concerned. He do you not understand? He just gave me my life back.
But you know
don't
who's
me
gonna
wrong.
help you keep your life?
I'm sure your Queen of Lies is a lovely deity, but he might see. No offense, sir, Mister. You said your name was. They keep calling you Tamiel. Yeah, and he goes.
Sorry, it's pronounced Tommy.
And you just hear the. And he goes, well, I don't know. I will never forget your kindness, and I will make sure that your kindness is. I'm probably going to tell stories of you, Tam. And he goes, please, you really don't have to. The better, as long as you live a full life, that will be plenty enough for me. If you don't mind, though, I'm going to go downstairs. There is some things I'd like to collect as my payment, though. If that would be all right with you. And Marin goes, anything, absolutely. Go, absolutely. Very well.
Was there shit downstairs?
You don't need to go down there. Do not concern yourself.
Okay.
The bird.
Well, Marin, Timmy over there may have given you your life back, but the Matron of Lies will give you a better well-being in this life. Just give it some thought. Just give it some thought.
I will definitely think about it.
And if you ever need a job, pray to her. She'll give you some insight.
I will definitely consider it. Thank you again so much for a random encounter changing my life.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Well, good luck with this. And I'll just walk out to the cart.
Okay.
I think that went well. I think I got one.
I just imagine Silas just standing on the balcony like, I don't
Silas
want to
is-
be.
Silas is sort of looking out, not into the horizon, but beyond it, if that kind of makes sense. Like, he's looking for what's out there.
Okay.
He wants to be like, and not just because of Kazim, but he wants to basically let his mind be as far away from this place as possible.
Okay. So he's just kind of in you. Where are you, Silas?
I'm on the balcony
Upstairs?
on the upper floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Kazim, you said you're going back to the cart?
Yeah.
Roll for perception.
I'm going to use this dice because this dice has not fucked me yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a challenge.
22.
Yeah.
22? Okay, so you see, as you're walking past the cart, just kind of off to one side, sitting against the house is Ayami, just kind of sitting there. You're not too sure what she's doing, but she's just off to one side of the house.
Tourist.
You're
You're gonna respond to it. Come on. I know
No,
you.
no.
You know I'm talking to you.
Nope. she's off in her own brain right now.
Hmm.
It's all good. Yep. It's a lovely day in the neighborhood.
I'm gonna use thaumaturgy to just do ominous whispers around your head.
Weirdly enough, when you start doing that, you hear this kind of like low growl coming from her general direction.
Like a beast or like a.
Something like that.
I'm gonna keep poking the bear.
Oh boy. Bestie, how does this turn out if he's poking the bear?
What do you do to poke the bear?
It's a really good question. I'm gonna do as sneakily as I can. You know what? No, I'm going to invoke duplicity and make my duplicate walk up right in front of the tourist and use thaumaturgy again in her face.
With that kind of insult, honestly, do I need to roll to see if she notices that it's a fake?
I'm gonna say you probably know it's not, but you can tell that he's trying to make fun of you. You'd probably take it as an insult.
Okay, well then we're gonna use primordial savagery.
Okay.
Huh?
You want
Do I need to read that?
Please do.
Yes?
You channel primal magic that causes your teeth and fingernails to sharpen, ready to deliver a corrosive attack. It's a melee attack against one creature within 5 feet of you. So, yeah.
Okay, go ahead and roll. So go ahead and roll for an attack for me.
To be clear, I am not within 5 feet of her, am I?
It's a 19.
Are you preparing it, or are you gonna get close enough to do it?
I will be close enough to do it.
Okay. Kazim, did the 19 hit you?
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll for damage.
As I say, technically I have a +6, so...
If my duplicate is next to her,
That
she
is
has a
not what I meant to do.
disadvantage.
I hit the wrong button.
Weirdly enough,
But it would be a 25, but yeah. Like to hit, it would be a 25.
okay.
Because
Go
of the
ahead.
+6.
Roll for damage.
Okay. A 15. And it is corrosive damage, which would be, yeah, acid.
Okay, so, Kazim, as you're sitting there poking the bear, as you say, all of a sudden this beautiful elven woman very quickly just almost like apparates in front of you. It's so lightning quick. And you're just seeing these around her face where it was these very feminine, elegant features are become more hardened and scaly and black as you're seeing her snout her mouth and nose kind of coming out into more of a snout like, and you're seeing these dagger like teeth coming down, and all of a sudden you get slashed by a very dark black scaly hand with large claws coming out of it. And you look up and you see that's just dripping this acid, and it happens so quickly you just feel this pain coming across, and you're not entirely sure how that just happened, but yeah, you take, how much damage was that?
15 as an acid. Yeah.
15 acid damage.
With that, she's gonna like take a step back, do the deep exhale,
As you realize that,
and let herself go back to normal, and kind of like fix her dress and be like, "Apologies, would you like healing?"
Was that primal savagery?
Mhm.
That's fucking awesome.
It's just a cantrip. It's just a cantrip.
I know it's just a cantrip. I have it on the druid. Yeah, I'd like some healing if that's possible.
She's gonna look at him and be like, "I ask you next time, please. Mind your manners when it comes to me. I'm not alone, and I am very short of temper. How badly are you injured?
Well, if I had to pick a number out of a hat, let's say on a scale of like 1 to, I don't know, 33,
Fucking hell, dude.
I'd say I'm at like a 12.
Okay, fine.
Oh my fucking god.
She's gonna look at you and be like, all right, I apologize for my mistemper. And she's gonna put her hand up just barely in front of her and then cast Healing Word. Please heal yourself for 12. Because that one is a little sad, but yes.
What level did you cast that at? Damn.
3rd?
Yeah, 3d4. Cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
She's nice.
I'm not gonna do it, but I so badly just want to use thaumaturgy again. Well, Kazim is gonna go take a nap on the cart. Because I just get the fuck beaten out of me.
I
Silas-
almost healed you for everything.
And Silas, you're on the other side of the house. You didn't see that, so
Yeah, no, I imagine so. I'm gonna sort of
as
take a breath.
I will say that Tammy is probably coming out at that point and watching Kazim kind of walk up, almost limping, and looks over and sees Ayami just kind of trying to calm herself. And Tammy goes, I see you've properly met Kazim this time.
The one who makes us short of temper, yes.
He tends to do that quite often.
Yeah, you should have seen the other guy.
Where is have you seen our orcish friend?
Last I saw, he was headed upstairs in that little building.
Very well. We are heading to River's Run, I suppose. They won't seem to figure out what they'd like to do, but you're very welcome to join us. And please,
You know what?
real quick, roll for perception there, Dyer.
Mm-hmm. That is an 18.
Okay. What were you saying there, Josh?
I was just gonna yell at Timmy for saying we can't make up our minds.
Well, feel free to join us if you'd like. And he kind of walks back inside. Silas,
Say no.
you're just kind of sitting there on the balcony, right?
I think at this point I'll start moving. Like, it would have been about half an hour or so, probably.
As
Of
you-
just fresh air
as
for
you-
me, so I'm good.
As you turn around, you notice that Tammy is sitting in the door frame, kind of looking at you and goes, well, it appears that the rest of our group is ready to move forward.
I
coming?
walk through him.
And it's weird when you walk past him, for some reason, you just go right through him.
Yeah,
I'll take
like,
that as a
I'm
yes.
actively like I'm like shoulder to like my shoulders matching to his shoulders, like
Just
walking through.
You just phase right through him, and very well. As you can begin coming downstairs. I
Wait, we can't even shoulder check this guy?
I suppose not. Are you guys making all of your way up back to the cart?
Yeah, I'm getting all out of this.
And Tammy gets on top of the carriage and looks over and goes, so, where to?
Imy's gonna look at Silas since Kazim is in the back of the cart and be like, kind sir, may I join you at least until the next town?
You may do whatever you please. Everyone seems to.
Opinions matter greatly to me.
Tamiel will need someone to talk to.
If that will help you, then sure.
When you hear that, Tammy just kind of turns around and goes, "If you can't tell, he's quite unfond of me."
Shut the fuck up.
It is rather easy to notice that you two don't get along very well.
I'm quite fond
is
of him, to be
also-
quite frank.
It is also rather easy to notice that the two of them appear to be a little... She's going to ponder for a second and then in Draconic say... grief-stricken, depressed, that kind of...
You hear Tammy reply in Draconic and goes, "There is a weight amongst their shoulders unlike any other."
In Draconic, I'm also gonna say another word out of you, and I'm gonna scream.
Who are you saying that to?
But I'm just saying it out loud.
So you're just making random threats in Draconic?
It could
Random
be
Draconic.
it could be at Silas for all they
Yeah,
know.
who the fuck is that towards? Another word out of you. Who are you saying that to? The
It's
new person?
directed towards. It's directed towards Tammy. I'm replying to Tammy,
Mm.
but I'm just sitting on my. I'm laying down on my back in the back of the cart.
I'm assuming that you're saying that with a lot more grief and anger behind it than just being a punk.
I'm gonna scream. It's just gonna happen. No, I am just trying to say, like, don't talk about my grief in front of me, please.
Okay.
That
She's going to ever so delicately and almost like... The way she gets onto the cart looks almost like she just kind of like magically plopped up there. That's how fluid and graceful it is.
As you begin,
And I say plopped, but that's just kind of the word that I know.
as you begin making your way, you guys look over and you see Marin standing at the door, waving as you walk by, and you see Tammy just kind of putting up his hand and a very quick flick of his wrist. And you do see that a lot of the grain around him begins to kind of dissolve, but turn into much more fertile soil, and a weird bag appears next to Marin. Probably some seed or something. As you begin going down the road, it's probably about 3-ish, maybe 3:30 or so as we're going down the road. Relatively silent until Tammy just kind of looks behind and goes, "So, Ayami, I've heard stories of the islands. I'm curious if perhaps you can answer some questions for me."
I will answer what I best can.
Is it true that there are 10 islands down there, and each one is owned by a dragon? I believe that's why there's colors per island, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed.
So if you're
That
from
part is
if you're from the Black Island, I assume that you know Draxto, the Black Dragon.
I was not born on the Black Island, but yes, I am residing from the Black Island, and yes,
I
I
see.
do know him. She's gonna have this moment of rather fondly.
I'm curious, very curious. Well, I do hope that you join us for at least a little while. I feel your conversation might be more fruitful than some I've had lately. As he kind of smirks over his shoulder and then kind of eyeballs Silas, who's sitting off to the side, riding Artemis.
If your
Fuck you, man.
conversations are not fruitful with them, then I ponder how much help the priestess of my nature would have been.
They seem to have a distaste for my kind. And to be quite frank, I don't quite blame them, even though I've done nothing but be helpful, as he's yelling.
We
that
like
off to
the other guy
Silas.
more.
The other? You speak as if there are many people in one person.
There are.
Life can be quite complicated in such things.
I understand that nature.
I'm sure you do.
I will say openly that if there are things that they need to air out that they do not feel comfortable airing to each other, I am always here. As my job was on the island, I am more than just a confidant.
Are you part of the church?
Indeed.
Kazim, what do you know of the Platinum Dragon?
Bahamut?
What was that?
I know. Bahamut? The Platinum Dragon?
Yeah, the Platinum Dragon. And his church, the 10 Islands. Do you know anything?
Josh knows a lot about the Platinum Dragon. What does Kazim know?
Roll for religion.
For some reason, I have a lot of points in religion, so that
Because you're a
is
fucking
dirty
cleric. I don't know why he's so confused by that.
You
I-
even made a comment earlier this session.
Yeah, you're a
about
cleric.
not
So good at
having
this.
it- You don't have investigation because you invested into
Because he's a
religion.
I
cleric.
don't know why I invested in religion. That was Josh weeks ago.
It's because you're Prince Kazim, cleric of Paylor.
Was
Dirty
Prince Kazim.
20.
Dirty 20. So he knows that the Platinum Dragon had 10 children, each dragons of different colors, and they founded the 10 Owls of the Sem. This is a lot of homebrew stuff, by the way, Josh. So
I was gonna say this sounds very different from what I know.
this is very different, yeah. And you do know that the 10 islands are essentially they all worship the Platinum Dragon, and that they live together with the different dragons out there. You are aware that when they're talking of the Black Island, that they are talking about a black dragon, obviously. And you are aware that each dragon gets what's called a high dragon mother that is, for lack of a better term, married to these dragons as their representatives for the rest of the civilization, because the dragons run the islands essentially, and the dragon mother essentially enforces everything that those dragons want amongst their island. So you know quite a little bit about the Platinum Dragon.
Are dragons evil?
Well, are you
Specifically
asking?
chromatic dragons.
Are you
I'm
asking?
asking you, Karma. In
Okay.
this world, are dragons?
That depends on
Yeah.
the dragon.
Yes, you do know that there are specific kinds of dragons that do have an inclination towards more evil natures and stuff.
It is not okay in this world specifically. It's not a chromatic versus metallic dichotomy, right?
You do know that it doesn't always follow that, but it does sometimes. You know what I mean?
So those 10 chromatic children,
Yes.
are they all chromatic?
Yes.
In the D&D that I know,
Yes.
all of those would be considered anywhere from lawful to chaotic evil.
Yes.
Okay.
You have heard stories that they tend to fit that. You've also heard stories where it doesn't necessarily fit that rule, but you do, for the most part, understand that dragons, yes, do fit that kind of nature out here. And you do know that the black dragon specifically, actually roll for history for me.
Do I have any points in history? I do. 21.
You have heard stories that the black dragon has been known for being incredibly greedy. So you're not sure what his alignment might be, but you do know that he's not well liked per se.
What was the question?
What do you know
The
about?
question that I made 2 rolls to get deeper into.
You were asked, what do you know of the Platinum Dragon?
I don't know, a lot.
You'll come to learn that though he is gruff and quite frankly sometimes immature, he is actually quite scholared.
She's just gonna kind of get this slight smirk on her face, and it looks like she's trying not to laugh, while also trying to remain elegant and poised.
Silas, are you still just riding off along the side?
If anything, I picked up my pace a little bit.
Try to avoid them?
Silas is sick and tired of these people right now, even Kazim.
That's fair. That's fair.
Because, everyone's just making problems, and he just doesn't want to be here.
Fair. Will someone roll me a d20?
Your turn.
I got you guys.
We already fucked it up enough.
That is a 17.
Okay. Silas, roll me for perception.
I mean,
17.
I don't think we want to roll karma. That'd be a bad thing.
Wait, what?
You said roll you
Oh,
for perception.
that's true. That'd be fun. I'd like to see you try. So as you're kind of riding along ahead of them, a couple hours go by, and it's a fairly calm day. There's not too much going on. As you, the sun begins to start kind of going down, you're noticing that the trail has begun to split into two. You're now at a fork. For your best guess, you're getting closer to the woods are beginning to be a little bit closer to what you remember, but you're still so far out that you're not quite sure which direction to go.
I have no idea where we're going, so Ivy is probably going to start humming. And Karma, you know the song.
Does it look like a decent place to make camp?
Real quick, Kazim, roll for perception with advantage.
There's only one number that could be better. Okay, so 25.
You hear Amy humming a very, very, very familiar tune that makes you begin to tear up.
Do I recognize the tune?
You do. It's the song that Mistrix sang to you when you were saying your goodbyes.
Crossbow to the back of the head. Loaded.
Roll for the attack.
Not attacking, just threatening.
Okay. As this is happening, Silas, you said you wanted to see if it was a good place to camp.
Yeah, at least for him. He doesn't really give a fuck if it suits everyone.
Roll for nature with advantage.
Nice. Thank God for the advantage. That's a 2. That is a lot better. What do I add to that? I think it's a decent thing. Nature's kind of my specialty. That is a 23.
Yeah, you see that off to the kind of more right side of the forest that there is what looks to be a very common clearing that you can tell that there have been camps there before. It's very well sheltered from the elements as it's surrounded by large trees, but it's got a nice flat clearing for you to make a comfortable bedding and a comfortable small campsite. And it's far enough from the road that if you were to have a fire, that most people probably you don't really feel like there'd be much fear of marauders coming to town.
I'm gonna make camp at that clearing.
Okay. How far ahead do you think you were of everyone else?
I would have probably been halfway between normal speed and dash.
Okay, so I'm gonna say after a couple hours, you were probably maybe like 20 to 30 minutes ahead of them. So you've probably got time to set up your camp before they start coming to the coming to the fork.
Yep, I'm gonna set up camp, tie up Artemis, and then go on the hunt.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, Kazim is now holding up a gun to the back, or holding up his crossbow to the back of Imi's head.
She's gonna stop humming, honestly, like, and just kind of, pardon me, but might I ask why you have a very sharp pointed object at the back of my scalp?
How do you know that song?
What song?
The song you were just humming.
A song that I heard in a dream. You're asking me where it came from? Without any context, in a
As quick
threatening
as
manner.
possible, replacing the crossbow with both of my daggers at her throat.
Okay.
She's gonna take a really, like, a deep, calming breath. This is not the best way to get your answers.
You feel the cart beginning to come to a stop, and all of a sudden just kind of turns around and you hear Tammy go, "Now, Kazim, is that any way to treat a new friend?"
She's not just going to sit here and hum that song, acting innocent.
Would you like to know why she knows it?
I'm not lying to you. I just
Can I
want
get
you.
Can I roll insight or
Yeah,
something to
roll
see
insight.
if I feel like she's lying?
Do you want to roll for
Oh,
persuasion
God.
or deception?
Oh, never
Uh,
mind.
19.
25.
You can tell that she's not lying at all.
Tammy, why does she know the song?
Let's just say that our furry friend asked a very specific question of me. I'm simply fulfilling a deal. Let's make camp. I'll answer more questions for you.
Bolstering. Backing off.
As he,
Death glare.
as you're,
In Draconic,
Hmm.
in Draconic, she's gonna say, "Friends are foes and foes are friends."
As hold on, my cat is losing her goddamn mind. I don't know why. Jeez,
Meow.
1 second.
Josh, it's a sign. It's a sign.
I'm gonna start killing shit.
But the real life cat's a sign.
That's a nice character you just rolled up. Be ashamed of somebody worth you are.
Try to murk her. I fucking dare you.
I'm close to.
Oh.
Because he was close to a level up, and you look like just about the right amount of XP.
Oh my god.
Ah.
Oh.
Joke's on you, we're on a milestone system, and I can't think of a better milestone than double down.
Dude, I am 2d20 rolls away from forcing Tammy to kill me. He has just been pissing Silas off the whole day. Oh, dude, what the fuck do I do?
You breathe. That's what you do.
Okay.
I think you sleep it off at this point, right?
Okay, so as you are coming up to this fork in the road, he pulls off to the side and he quickly grabs a couple things and looks over and says, "I see that Silas has already made camp here. If we would like to join him over there, possibly not too close, if at all possible."
If I were you, I would stay about 100 feet away.
I have my own accommodations, if you don't mind.
Are you gonna poof in the necklace?
I'd rather not let you know.
He's gonna poof in the necklace.
She's going to stay on the cart. Just
Okay.
sit there.
You're more than welcome to join me for tonight, as this is going to be quite interesting.
I do not know if it is best. If I may try to find quarters elsewhere.
Fair enough. If you'd like, I feel. If you have any questions, please come find me. I'll be around. Kazim, are you going over to Silas?
Is Silas still hunting, or?
Yeah, so you walk up towards his camp and notice that he's got his small tent set up. He's got Artemis all kinds of set up, but he's not anywhere around.
I'll start setting up my tents probably about 10 yards away. Try not to get too close.
Okay. And Amy, where are you going?
Honestly, first she's probably gonna sit there and talk to herself.
Okay.
And try to like think of the best scenario to do, because Feathered Boy just tried to attack her over a song that she doesn't even know the words to. So yeah, she's gonna take a minute. She's gonna take a minute.
Okay. Kazim, are you gonna start a fire or anything?
How late is it?
It's getting to the point of about 7:38. It's getting fairly dark.
Yeah, I'll start the fire.
Okay. As you guys as you begin setting up your fire, you do notice that Silas begins walking back with a very large buck over his shoulder.
I'm just gonna like dead drop it about 10 feet away from the fire so to not pick up dust and put out Kazim's hard work.
It did take him like a full hour to get the fire.
It sure did. It actually did take him quite some time. He might still be trying to light it as you're walking up, and he's, come on.
The kindling is only just starting to take.
Yeah. And I will basically begin carving the deer for the best meats.
Okay. As you are setting all that up, you hear Tammy's footsteps walking by, and a very quick, and the kindling you worked so hard on instantly bursts into flames as a small little firebolt poofed into the small kindling, and he put a log on there and goes, to make it a little bit simpler. And he sits down in front of the fire next to you guys.
You couldn't have done that 50 minutes ago, you asshole.
I had preparations of my own, but I feel that there may be some explanations needed. Now, Amy, you're probably out, like, setting up a little tent somewhere, so you're probably not around for this right now.
But she's probably walking around the woods trying to like figure out if she's going to stay closer to the camp.
Okay.
Yeah, she's very conflicted about existence right now.
Okay. Now, Silas, you've missed a small bit of interesting conversation that Kazim decided to have with Amy. Care to tell him, Kazim?
She was humming the song that Mistrix was singing, and I put a crossbow to the back of her head, and then I put 2 daggers to her throat. And Tammy here said, or gave me the impression at least, that he gave her the song in her dreams.
I've given her so much more than just a song.
That's what she said.
I didn't say anything of the
Very
sort.
clever. Very clever. Do you... how do I put this? Kazim, do you remember what happened, what I did to Mistrix's body when I first came back out. And Silas, do you remember what I told you as to why Tharizdun can no longer inhabit her?
He's not gonna really pay him any mind whatsoever. And Kazim specifically, you'll kind of, because you've seen Silas cut before, the cuts are not as fine. They're
It's like
all
rage cutting.
well, not quite rage, but like it's not enough to ruin the meat, but he's doing it faster. Like he's trying to get it done as quickly as possible without ruining the meal.
Okay. As this is happening, you see that Tammy just kind of stands up and begins to start walking away and goes, well, just so that you're aware, perhaps you should look into a small tattoo that our new friend has. She might be much closer to the two of you than you might realize. Good night, gentlemen. As began walking away.
Fuck you, Tammy.
Yeah, fuck you too, Kazim.
I fucking hate that guy.
I mean, as you're walking around, you see Tammy walking back towards the carriage, and he makes eye contact with you, and he kind of waves you to follow him.
She will kind of glance around and see where they are and make sure that they're like not going to murder each other or not coming after everybody. And then she's going to follow him.
Okay. Are you two talking at the fire or anything?
Probably not.
Silas does not look like, Silas looks like he's ready to pounce at a moment's fucking notice at the next thing to tick him off.
Okay. As Amy, you begin walking up to the carriage with Tammy, he kind of looks to you and goes, well, I know that you probably don't have much camping equipment, so you're more than welcome to stay here. And he snaps his finger, and the back of the carriage, it's normally covered and usually open, all of a sudden kind of turns into this wooden, like, front of a house or something, and he kind of opens it up, and it seems like a very small home inside with 2 beds and a small fire, and he goes, I believe it'll be a little bit more comfortable than sleeping out in the wild. And don't worry, I'm fully prepared for whatever interesting things might happen throughout the night.
She's gonna kind of look at him with that curious kind of, oh really now kind of look.
You see
Would
this
you like-
kind of cocky, just grin come across his face, and opens the door and kind of, after you.
I have a sneaking suspicion that you're going to try to stay near me.
You intrigue me. I'd like to know more.
With that, there's gonna be like the slightest little blush, and then she's gonna, so be it, and then walk in.
Okay. Are we going down for a long rest?
Silas
Okay.
doesn't sleep tonight.
Pretty please. Well, technically, I don't really need to sleep, but you know.
Interesting. Well, as we're going through the nights, Silas, I'd like you to roll me a perception check, please.
My second favorite type of roll. That's a 21.
Okay. As you're sitting there, are you just by the fire, or are you in your tent?
I am circling the camp. Like basically, like I've sort of got this perimeter of the camp, and it's not to be on watch. Silas is in a mindset was like, I need something to do to get my mind off. Like he's counting branches on trees, just anything to
Okay.
get him away from where he is right now.
As you're kind of venturing off to entertain yourself, you do notice in the back of a carriage there is a very tall figure that is coming out of the back of it.
Bring her axe in hand.
Okay.
Do they look familiar?
Weirdly enough, no. But you do see another figure getting out as they kind of go for a small walk out into the forest. And the other one seems to be very familiar, as it looks to be Nico's body, as they are with this now much taller figure than Nico walking down the road a little ways, conversing.
I follow.
Roll for stealth.
Do I still have the thing or no?
It only
Cool.
lasts an hour,
Nope, you don't
man.
have it.
That's fine. That's fine, as long as I know. That's a 17.
Okay. Okay. I'm trying to think how we would do this. What language do you speak?
A very good question. So I speak common.
Yes.
I speak giant. I think there's a third. Give me one moment. I also speak Sylvan.
Okay. So as you're falling behind, you feel relatively stealthy enough. As you walk past the cart, you look back and you notice that the cart has a wooden door on it for some reason. As you're trying to stay in the brushes behind, you're seeing Nico. Obviously, you can hear Tammy speaking in a language you don't quite recognize to this very tall, black-scaled, what seems to be dragonborn. All of a sudden, he's at least a good 6'9" or something. He's huge. This gigantic dragonborn. Go ahead and roll for perception for me.
Okay, whilst I don't recognize, obviously I don't understand the language. Are there? Does it sound similar to the language everyone was talking earlier?
Yes.
Got it. Cool. Perception. That's a 17 again.
Okay. One thing you do notice that you didn't find much before is this dragonborn has, how do I put it? It's much taller, very long, elegant clothes on him, and he has on his hip this kind of black scythe, it seems like. And it almost seems to be like moving, almost. It's incredibly unsettling. It's got a black handle. The end of it ends in a dragon head that seems to be like opening its mouth, and at the head of it there seems to be these like black scaly wings that seem to be almost flapping at the top of this scythe, kind of waving and you just hear them conversing back and forth to each other.
Once I've got a good profile of the Dragonborn, I'm gonna back off and continue my perimeter.
Okay.
I'm basically there to be like, right, memorize as many details as I can, and then like I'm not gonna overstay my welcome.
Okay. So, Kazim, while you are drifting off into your beautiful dreams, you're kind of brought back into, it seems like the carriage, as you're just sitting in the back and you look over and there's no one driving it, and you're just kind of in this weird looping scene going down the street and stuff, and sitting at the edge is that familiar feminine figure with the silver mask, kind of sitting there and goes, "Good evening, Kazim.
Hey.
So I understand that he's agreed to meet me."
Yeah, he said, all you need to do is touch the necklace. It kind of sounds, I don't know if you want my opinion on this, it kind of sounds like a trap to me.
To be
Maybe that's
perfectly fair, I think everything is a trap when it comes to him.
That sounds incredibly accurate. I don't like Tammy. I'll be on the record and say that I personally prefer the other one.
Nico?
Sure, yeah,
You can't even remember
that's
their
probably him.
names?
Yeah.
Well,
I got a lot going on, okay?
I know you do.
This
I feel like you need to speak to somebody, Kazim.
I don't need to speak to anybody. I am fine. I am, as the kids say, kosher. Here's what I need. I need more people like me that work for me so that I can do more. That's what I need.
This feminine figure turns around and kind of kneels in front of you and just kind of caresses your cheek and goes, "One day we'll make anything you want to happen. But for right now, Kazim, I need you to know everything that's happened, that's been going on. It's not your fault. And I hope that you're able to forgive yourself and move forward. I'm going to go speak to our friend."
Before you do,
Yes.
I need to ask you, does anybody in Rever's Run already worship you?
There is a odd older goblin. I think he runs a mortuary. He tends to pray to me.
I know that guy. I fucking know that guy.
Oh, he's peculiar, but well mannered and enjoys interesting lies to tell families, but I find him quite entertaining.
I fucking knew something was up with him. Hell yeah. Oh, if only I could remember his name.
Oh, well, hopefully you can go find it out because you're going to get it wrong anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Good luck.
Good night, Kazim.
You too.
As she evaporates away, and you're able to, and you can weirdly feel the warmth like the sun coming down. It's a very peaceful cart ride that you'll be sitting there as you begin to drift back off into sleep. So Silas, you're just kind of still stumbling around. You're not going to try and sleep or rest at all.
I will try and rest. I will not sleep.
If you do not sleep, you're going to get exhaustion.
That's fine.
Okay.
Like I'll try and like rest out and sort of recuperate myself because I'm still aching from the morning battle. But like I'm
you'll
staying
be
conscious.
You'll be fully healed, but you will get a point of exhaustion.
That's fine. That's more than fine.
Okay.
But yeah,
Disadvantage on ability checks?
Yep.
yeah, all ability checks. But quite honestly, Silas would rather be tired than sleep because he is scared to close his eyes.
Okay. As the night begins to pass through and the morning begins to crest over, you all manage to achieve a long rest, except for Silas. You get to heal yourself up, but you do take a point of exhaustion, but all of you seem to fully heal up as the morning begins to come. For some reason, Aimee, you do not wake up in like the same position. Perhaps you switched beds, but you're used to waking up in odder positions. But at least it's in the same place you fell asleep this time. So
At least it's not a brothel.
exactly,
We're on point.
yeah,
We're on point.
you are much more comfortable than normal. As Tammy kind of wakes up and goes, "Good morning, Aimee. I trust you slept well."
As well as one can with the ailments that I have.
Now, I found something interesting last night, and exactly as I suspected. I think we should talk. As that's happening, Kazim, you wake up, and you kind of come out, and Silas, what are you doing in the morning?
I'm making breakfast with the leftovers, meats and stuff like the more fatty meats. I'm sort of making along with a couple foraged herbs and berries and such.
Give me 1 second.
Take your time.
Karma's trying to learn how to disco while we're playing.
Yeah, right. It's hard. Well, I had to try and tell a story while I'm also texting. Kazim, you wake up to the delicious smell of Silas's ever amazing breakfasts. It always waking up with mouth watering.
Tell you.
Do you wake up and eat breakfast? with him?
I'll probably go, honestly, forage for some eggs. Just like fly up to a tree and try to gather some.
Such a cannibal.
Okay, I'm not a bird, alright?
But you're purposely going out for anything poultry to eat.
Breakfast! Eggs for breakfast!
Go
not
kill a
that
pig and
weird.
get some bacon, goddammit.
Okay,
I mean,
Karma,
we
I'd
did-
like you
we
to tell
did
me where I'm gonna
establish that-
find a pig.
You can find a boar. It's a fucking forest. Boars live in the forest.
In this forest? He just found elk, right? In
Yeah.
venison? Yeah.
You know multiple animals can live in a forest, right?
Yeah, but boars don't live anywhere near fucking elk.
What makes you say that?
Roll nature, motherfucker.
I guess
Yeah,
I don't really know the.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't know shit about this forest, I guess. That's a
Yeah.
nat one nature. You have no fucking idea. The only deer come from this forest.
Well, obviously, other animals live in the forest. I'm talking about like.
Are you wanting?
I guess I'm thinking of just Pacific Northwest. There aren't really boars.
Wait, didn't Silas kill a boar the other day?
He sure did. He cooked
Really?
it too
Yeah.
and gave it to you as
Literally-
food.
Literally last night.
Less than 24 hours
pretty
ago, you
sure.
had boar for dinner.
Like, I brought
Well,
you a
you
boar
had
and I
rabbit. You had
Yeah,
rabbit for
rabbit.
dinner,
Yeah.
but he did have a
Yeah,
boar
but-
next to him.
Yeah, so I ate a boar, I gave Nico a fox, I'm pretty sure, and then you got the rabbit. Because I remember making the rabbit for you on the first camping trip we did, and you liked it.
And then he threw 2 almost mangled rabbits at you while he ate the boar last adventure, after the death of the cat.
Yep.
So yes, there is boar in this wilderness.
There are also boar in the Pacific Northwest, but they're an invasive species.
Of course.
Josh,
It's a
you're
fairly
just-
recent development.
Josh, you're just shit at animals.
He's just mad.
That's
Yeah.
why you're not a druid. That's why you're not a druid.
Anyway, as
I know more about desert wildlife, okay? Don't judge me.
they have javelinas and shit, which is still a type of boar.
Javelinas. They're great.
Javelinas.
They're awesome. They're adorable.
They're fucking
They're also
assholes, is what they
incredibly
are.
vicious.
Yeah, they are
let's
fucking
get
assholes.
But they're the
Silas would
cutest.
totally
They're
kill
the
one.
cutest things.
Oh yeah, I used to go javelina hunting. Anyway, as you finish up your conversation with V, he opens up the door and you instantly smell this waft of delicious meats being prepared, along with berries, and weirdly you could smell eggs coming from the direction of the camp of the other people. As Tammy kind of walks out and stretches a little bit and goes, "Huh, another beautiful day. Shall we continue our trip?" As he holds his hand out to you, Aimee, to help you out of the cart.
She will nod her head and go with him. One elegant elven hand in this ASMR's hand. My brain forgot how to say
Yeah.
ASMR there for a second. It's
As they
okay.
begin walking towards the your camp, as they walk up behind you, Kazim, you notice as you look up that Tammy is holding out another loaf of bread and handing it to you and goes, "Here you go. I'd like to contribute something."
Did you talk to her?
I did.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Cool, that's
appreciate
it.
I
I'll
appreciate
take the
the
bread and walk
introduction.
away.
Was I supposed to bring something for
No,
your breakfast?
Absolutely not. I just they tend to speak to me more kindly when I bring them food.
Aptly.
Yeah.
Most creatures when hungry are rather ravenous.
Yeah,
Silas, you're awake,
sure.
right? You're cooking, right?
I have been for a while.
Roll for perception.
Cool. At disadvantage, that is still a 21.
You see them kind of walk up as you're cooking the breakfast, and you see Aimi wearing the same clothes as yesterday, still as elegant as ever. And on her hip, you
I
notice
feel like I can't judge that.
kinda. You notice a silver scythe on her hip that ends in a dragon head and has at the very top these beautiful bejeweled kind of platinum looking wings that they're all stationary, but that definitely sticks out to you.
Fucking
So-
sick of all these different
Karma-
creatures with multiple souls.
Arma,
Hmm.
we forgot to make that. It doesn't exist.
I'm gonna make it tonight.
Oh, fucking... Why is Kazim the most normal person here?
He keeps trying to tell people that the Queen of Lies is the best person ever.
And that's the more normal.
He also tries to eat his own kind.
He does. He really wants to eat some fucking chicken. He wants to. He is so mad that people keep calling him a bird that he wants to prove it by only eating poultry.
In Josh's defense, last session you established that Aarakocra do not give birth via
I did.
eggs.
They're closer to mammalian than fucking.
I did, but I also made it clear that it is very offensive to call them a bird, and that they tend not to eat poultry. And Kazim seems to exclusively want to eat poultry.
That's like a cultural thing. That's like a Hasidic person not eating pig. I mean, you can. It's just against the religion most of the time. It's a cultural thing.
The religion that he is turned against.
Fair.
The bird wants to eat a bird because his god told him he can't, and he left that god, so now he can.
Anyway,
Breaking all the rules, baby.
Anyway,
Yeah, alright, like Silas is gonna sort of give it a side glance, finish cooking, put out like enough plates for everyone, even Tammy/Nico, because he honestly doesn't know or care if Tammy needs to eat or not. That's not been established. I can't be fucked to deal with this dickhead. And once he's done that, he's gonna go and feed all the horses.
as you sit there and eat your breakfast, and it's obviously as delicious as ever, because no matter what, it always seems like no matter how little he tries, that Silas is able to create something ever more delicious than the last.
I should have proficiency in cooked utensils.
I actually think I'm gonna give it to you for the orcish thing. Anyway,
Give him the chef fee for free.
we'll see. I'll think about it. Anyway, as the sun begins to come up and the morning dew begins to evaporate off the grass all around you guys, and the fire is still burning hot as you enjoy your warm breakfasts, and as the horses are happily eating their feed out of your hand, Silas, I think that's where we're going to end for this week. I want to thank you guys for coming to play with me. I want to thank you guys for coming to watch me. That was a very fun episode for me, and yeah, that was an absolute blast. I guess I keep forgetting to do this. Check us out on the YouTubes and on the Spotifys for the rest of this. You're not caught up to this point, and always make sure to come check us out every Sunday for our episodes or even our one shots. And yeah, I hope you guys have a fantastic fucking week.
and he also forgot to mention the Tiki Talks that he forgot to do this
And the
time,
Tiki
but he
Talks
normally does before it.
and the Tiki Talks where Silas
If you're not already on our Discord, join our Discord. We love you.
Yep, join our Discords, all the good stuff. I love you guys, and I'm gonna send us out with our theme song one more time. So who wants to do it this week?
Josh, you're up.
Woo-woo.
Because it would have been Dragon, but she's not fucking here.
Let's hear it,
It's
Josh.
Dragon's
Let me
fault.
clear my voice.
What is a ray of light without the shadow it creates? What is the darkness without desire for flame? What is a warrior without a worthy foe? What would you like to do? It's time to roll. if there is dune or paler came first. An ancient struggle throughout all time to push against the elder keeps both upright. Is the coming chaos worth the peace? Is it all just a puzzle to complete? A one-sided coin can't exist, isn't real, and thus goes the tales of Ethyl. Thus goes the tales of Ethyl.